Goodness. All right, we are officially live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Tori, and I am so excited for this conversation. I have been counting down the days for this Motley Crew chat to talk to Silvia. Silvia from the library Unbounded, one of my favorite new channels from this last year. You guys, I've been binging her videos, which before we even do anything else, I need everybody in the chat, and if you're watching the replay, to go down in the description box below, click the link to Silvia's channel and subscribe, because I promise you, she has some of my favorite content on YouTube right now. She is just fun and has amazing takes on books and stuff. And I could talk about her for 2 hours. But Silvia, welcome to the channel. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Tori. We actually have been talking for about 15 minutes, I think, before we started. And the moment, Tori came on screen, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm talking to her.
We both just kind of fangirled for about
Yeah.
10 minutes, honestly. It was great.
Yeah, I want to tell the story
Go
about
for
the
it,
thing that we spoke
please.
about. I told her that I've been watching her channel for about 4 years, I think, at this point. And I remember one of her first videos that she posted was the booktuber newbie tag. And I remember watching it like so many years ago. Oh, a few years ago. And I was remember thinking, oh my God, this is such a cool person. I think it would be so nice to sit and chat. And here we are doing it. I can't
It
believe
took
it.
us a while.
Yeah, well,
It's all
good
right.
things take time,
That's
somebody has
right.
said.
That's true. Hello, everyone in the chat. We've got Zamar
Hi.
here with us. John's here. Sarah Beth is here. Kale's here. A bunch of our regular friends. Zach is here. How's it going, guys? Brian is in the chat causing trouble already. Are we surprised? Hey, Brian. It's largely due to Brian that I got further into Silvia's channel, because they had a lovely chat on For Whom the Bell Tolls. So if you enjoy our conversation, you guys should go back and watch that one, because that one was also fantastic. And subscribe to Brian's channel as well, because Matt's here. My friend Casey's here. Casey's one of my closest friends, and she's been having to listen to me get excited for this chat for the last 2 weeks. I'm like, Casey, I'm talking to Silvia next weekend. I'm so excited. So thank you for being here, Casey. Hello, hello. I feel bad about this. Everybody should also yell at Matt from Matt on Books and support the Sunday pub that's going on right now. I almost never schedule things on Sunday, and because Silvia and I are in pretty drastically different time zones, we had to do a weekend chat, which is completely fine. But shout out to Matt from Matt on Books.
Yeah, it's all my fault, so please
It's all Silvia's fault.
pass my apologies.
Oh man. Pete says, watched a few videos in advance and Silvia is great. 100% agree. Yes. Please,
so
you guys,
nice.
I'm telling you, amazing. Your TBR game, which we are going to talk about. I am so addicted to your TBR games. I have watched all of them twice. Okay. I love
Why?
them because you're funny, and I love you are so
Okay.
creative. Like your setup. Okay. BookTube has a lot of TBR games, right? TBR games have
Yeah.
been around for ages, and I've watched a few of them and I've enjoyed a few of them, but there was never one that like really hooked me and made me want to play a TBR game until I watched yours. So,
Well, I can't take all the credit. J.R. Tolkien has, contributed somewhat.
yeah, shout out to JRR.
Shout out.
Yeah, go subscribe to his channel. We have Esme Rosalind in the chat.
The woman with the most beautiful name in the history of
Oh,
history. Every time I see her name, I have to say it out loud. Esme Rosaline, the whole
so
thing.
beautiful.
So beautiful.
Yeah. Monty's here. Hello, Paul. Hi, everybody. This is true, Esme. Like, I'm telling you guys, if you want a good time and some solid entertainment, the Lord of the Rings TBR games, and she has multiple of them. And I'm unfortunately caught up now, which is really hard because now I have
Until
to wait.
tomorrow.
I'm so excited. Yes. So a sneak peek. speaking of the TBR game, is that in May, Silvia had me so inspired that I built a TBR game, um, which I'm
I
very
have seen some of it. It's
so excited.
phenomenal. Oh,
It's yours is way more put together. Mine's just kind of like I've got some cards and it's gonna be great.
yeah,
But
but yours has a little, not a little, a lot more thought put behind it. Like there's mechanics and I
there's
I don't
mechanics in
wanna.
your TBR game.
Yeah, but yours has connections between things, and it's
Yeah.
like there's more to it, more depth,
I
definitely more
mean,
depth.
we could definitely argue about each other's creativity for a while. So
All right, let's do it. Let's go. I'm down.
we've got Esme blushing over in the chat. Um, so to start off as kind of an icebreaker, my first question to you, Sylvia, is what are you reading currently?
Well, let me tell you,
How many
this
books are you reading
currently
currently?
just this,
Ooh.
because this takes all the brain cells, and I'm actually in a deficit. This is, by the way, The Ships of Marior by Jani Wirtz. This is the War of Light and Shadows series that we do buddy read with Brian actually here, the troublemaker in the chat. And I'm part of this thanks to John from Talking Story,
Mm,
who recruited me for this, and I will forever be thankful to him because fantastic
mm.
series so far. I mean, this is the second book only. The writing, the characters. I have so many theories. I'm bursting to talk about this, and soon I will be.
We're getting a video, I'm assuming?
Actually, we're doing a live stream
That's
on the
right.
19th, I think.
Okay, so coming up.
Uh, yes, yes,
That's
yes.
exciting.
On Jake from Nerd Level Rising's channel. I
Okay.
Yeah,
There's a pretty big group of you guys that are reading it all
I know.
together.
I know, I know. Great people. So many insights. When you read with so many other people that are also fantasy fans, but are
Mm,
from different background, different ages, different regions of the world, with different experiences, you get to see so many other points of view, and you get more from the book. It's really good.
absolutely. Yeah,
Really.
I'm excited to I so the FOMO was really kicking in for me in
I know.
January
And you
because
know what? It's real. It's for real. You're missing out. I'm sorry to say.
ugh,
The fear is justified.
yeah, I just need to throw out my entire TBR and all of the series that I'm in the middle of and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
catch up to you
Tell
guys.
your family to give you a break for like a month so you can.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go into my reader cave and only read Janny Wirtz for a month. I
That's
don't
it.
know if I'd have any brain cells coming out of that, only reading Janny for a month, honestly.
Listen, we're all struggling here, fighting for.
Fighting for our lives.
Yeah, I'm sitting here with the dictionary and another person to ask questions. It's a
Yeah, well, I'm really glad you're enjoying it so far because I know
so
it
much.
seems like, series like that, it really helps, it seems like, to have kind of a community to read along with you.
Yeah, because let me tell you, there's this meme from, is it Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where the guy with the board that's making the connections, and that's
I
me the
think
whole
so.
time. And usually when I do that, it's just me here,
Mm.
struggling not to talk to myself actively. And so, we have to keep some semblance or pretense of
Eh.
normalcy. And then when I have people, because if I try to talk to my normal surrounding people about this, they disappear very quickly. That's the
Yeah,
fastest way to, to lose audience. So when I have people that actually actively listen and want to hear what I have to say, so beautiful.
right?
It's fantastic.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm assuming since with that, one of the reasons I started BookTube, and I'm assuming because it is for a lot of us similarly this way, um, my friends and family physically around me, some of them do enjoy reading, but if we're being honest with ourselves, we kind of take it to like an obsessive level, you know? Um,
Untrue.
no, none of us are obsessive nerds here, not at all.
Lies.
So what was your kind of hey, I'm gonna sit down and film a Leviathan Wakes
Oh my God.
review, which by the way is one of my priority reads this year. So I was very excited
Yeah.
that you had a
It's a great,
review.
great series.
Can't wait.
The video, don't watch it. It's
I
terrible.
already did.
Oh
Or
my
part of it,
God.
part of it.
You
It was
know, every
great.
time I watch my old videos, which I never do because it's like a medieval torture to listen to myself struggle to sound like a human being, um, it's terrible. I was trying to be really funny in it. Was holding the microphone right here, right in my mouth, and you can hear the whole terrible. So, but anyway, it's a great book. It's a great book, and I how I decided to film that video is actually what we just talked about. My then partner wasn't a reader, and
Mm,
I was annoying him with I talk a lot, you'll see, and I was continuously trying to get him involved into what I was doing here, and my theories about fictional people. And
mm.
he was like, "Why don't you just make a YouTube channel and annoy other people?" Was what was left unsaid, and I did,
Well, I'm
and here
so
we
glad
are.
you did. Yeah, I'm
Me
so
too.
glad you did. Yeah, I think, there's so much content on BookTube, and for those of us who, enjoy watching each other's content, I have so many friends on BookTube to keep up with that are making such awesome content, and it can be
Oh,
really difficult to find time. And at some point you just can't. But it's always there's certain channels where I always know if I'm having a day where I just need some booktube friends, I can go and it's going to be a pick me up every time. I'm going to have a great time watching, and your channel has very quickly risen to that rank recently.
this
So,
I feel like I'm dreaming. Hearing this from honestly, hearing
no,
this from you is like the best thing ever. But you're one of those channels for me.
thank
Absolutely one of
you.
those channels for me. You know that there was a time, maybe 2 years ago, when I also can't find time to watch. Only times I watched YouTube videos is when I clean around or like I'm
Mhm.
going for a walk or running or something useless like that. And I always like there was a period where I went for like twice for a run twice a day so that I can listen to you speak so that I can justify it, because if I'm sitting at home I'm trying to be productive for some
Right.
reason or another. So but you also have 3 children. Like, how do you find time to read and watch things? I will never know. Like, it's insane.
Well, the joking answer that I always tell people is that I also have some insomnia, which helps. So I have a really hard
Yeah,
time
that's very
sleeping.
helpful.
It is, and actually, reading is one of the things. Like, I have a hard time slowing my brain. I have ADHD,
Yeah,
so at the end of the day,
same.
I really struggle to slow my brain down. Right.
Yeah,
So, reading has really become one of those things where I can get my brain, which is going in 100 directions, to focus on one place for a little bit before I can finally, hopefully, fall asleep and relax and get lost in a story. And it kind of allows
yeah,
my brain to regulate itself a little bit more, which is great.
absolutely relate to that. Okay, but like, do you read only one book at a time, or do you read multiples simultaneously, like in parallel?
Most of the time, I have multiple books going.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Yeah.
Totally.
Do
I can
you?
totally understand. Yeah, yeah, I need to switch
Yeah.
between things, need the variety.
Yeah.
But okay, like, do you have like a favorite book, like if you're very upset that you would go to,
Mm.
or like a genre that you would
Well,
go
this
to?
I have a hunch we might, have people maybe chuckling at us for the same reason for this. So, I have both of us enjoy dark fantasy, right? We're both dark fantasy girls.
Dark
Okay.
fantasy, not dark romantasy. I want to clarify.
Amen.
Because recently when people say dark fantasy, it's always some weird boudoir stuff going on, and that's not my
Yeah.
thing.
No, me neither. And as we said earlier, we're gonna talk about that because both of us are, I well, you've put a video out saying so you call yourself a romance hater.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I've
I own it.
tried to be more diplomatic about it, but honestly, it's kinda true.
You know what I was thinking? Because I know that you dislike romance. And when I saw the thumbnail for this video, both of us, kind of side eyeing the situation with the white shirts, I was like, this is like the poster for the romance haters, like the uh, holy society of ladies who doubt it, like,
Yeah, we're looking so judgmental over at
yeah,
these
yeah,
things.
super judgmental.
Oh, yeah. And, well, so what Brian's comment I wanted to come out back to really quick because I completely agree.
Stop it,
Your
Brian.
editing, I So one of the places that I kind of slack a little bit is in my editing. I don't do anything super fancy most of the time because I just don't have the time to do that. And I'm so inspired. I watch your videos and I'm like, I want to put more effort into my editing after watching your videos because they're so, it looks like a production every time. You've got these really cool, like, you know,
Yeah,
transitional video clips and photos and
thank
cool
you.
titles. It's so nice. It's really pleasant to watch as a viewer.
Yeah.
So,
It's fun because I didn't know anything about editing when I started, and you can see it in my earlier videos. But after that, I started seeing what people that I enjoy watching do, and
yeah.
I also enjoy very lightly edited or almost unedited videos. But for some particular types of videos, like the TBR game, it's
Yeah.
difficult to keep the attention all the time, so you have to kind of
Yeah.
switch things, and it's fun. But I have a friend, I mean, an acquaintance more so, who is a Bulgarian. I'm Bulgarian, for those who don't know, who's a Bulgarian YouTuber who makes videos about board games
Ooh.
in Bulgaria. And his production is very, very high. He has a
Mm.
studio, he's invested a lot of effort and money into what he does. And he's very professional in what he does, very beautiful shots. And he texted me a while back saying, "Oh, so you're doing a very good job." And he was like, what is the technology that you're using? I'm using my iPhone to film, and I'm editing on iMovie, like a so
Mhm.
all for free, like it's the duct
Yeah.
tape production, uh all the way. And you can do a lot with very
True.
minimal resources, but it takes a lot of time. And which is why I've been editing my last TBR video for like 2 weeks. I mean, it's an excuse. I've been slacking.
It's okay, but it's also not okay, and you should definitely post it really quickly because
Yeah,
I need
yeah,
to
yeah,
watch
yeah.
it.
I repent. I
I need
repent.
it. I need it.
I should have
Um,
invented a sickness or something to
yeah,
justify it.
I was sick.
Oh, my stomach hurt. Wait, the stomach hurt.
Yeah, well, we're old enough now that we could, well, I threw my back
I don't
out.
even have to invent it. It's actually a fact. Happens
Right?
every other day.
Brian is bummed because he's not apparently going to put up Boudoir Tube now for us, which is a
Now,
loss
Brian,
for us all.
you please, if you don't put boudoir tube now, what are we doing here?
See, I think
It
this
has
could
to
be a
happen.
segment on BellTube where Brian
Yeah,
reads romance
yeah.
books and talks
One
about
for the road and one for the boudoir. At the end of every.
perfect. Let's see. I am behind on comments. Sorry guys. I'm checking in.
I have never been able in my life to keep up with a live
Oh,
chat
it's
ever.
you just kind of do your best. And the chat is
My
very
best is very
gracious.
bad.
Titus, yeah, Britain's reading Phased right now and loving Jules, who is a character so Phased is my dark paranormal book,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. Oh, I
Jules.
have a I have a thing coming with your books included, but you'll see. Not good. It's not going to be this month. Next month probably, but you'll see.
Well, now I'm nervous. Ah,
You should be.
no, I'm. It's one of those things, and I don't know if it's like this with your own channel, right? When we're complimenting each other, and we're both like, "Stop,"
Stop. Yeah. I
It's
don't know
the
how to
same.
react.
It's the same thing as an author. I love promoting everyone else's books. My friends have to yell at me in the chat like, "Hey, remember you have a book you can promote." Like, cuz I'm always like, "Well,
Why
yeah,
is
but
that?
I don't know." I think it's hard. Is it really that hard for us to accept that we're like doing well at something? I think it
I don't
is
know.
to some
I think
degree.
I know it's a Bulgarian thing to feel bad about bragging, and it feels like
Mm,
bragging when you're trying to promote yourself. We're
yeah.
also very wary of people trying to sell us things, so we feel
Yeah.
uncomfortable promoting our own stuff, which is insane, by the way. It's like the stupidest thing you can feel about, because if you're producing something nice, we're readers, we want to read, and I enjoy your videos. I like the way you think. I like the way you express yourself, and I would love to read your books. And I can understand the kind of feeling uncomfortable to put out
Mm,
your work there, but I would like to encourage you to do it more because I think you're doing well. And
thank you,
that's all I'm going to say
Silvia.
for now.
Thank you. I am working on it because it is something where it's not that I'm not proud of my books and,
No, no, no.
my channel. I mean, we work really booktube is hard. I think a lot of people a lot of work and effort and time goes into something that obviously we're very passionate about. We love books. We love talking about books. We love creating content about books because we're obsessive nerds, as we established earlier.
Untrue.
Except Sylvia. Sylvia is not a nerd.
No, no, totally not that.
she's just
You
she's
can
just
ask
here.
anybody.
um but yeah, I think that is something that there's a big difference between, like you said, bragging versus being proud of something that you've worked really
Yeah.
hard on. So I need to get better at that. So
Yeah, you should.
therapy
I'm
session.
here to tell you. Yeah, it's one of those things that makes my therapist a lot of money,
Right, yeah, same. Zach says that Wars of Light and Shadow is one of the few series I've come across that makes me feel like I've been 100% transported to another world. Tolkien is the only other author who has managed to accomplish that feeling. Wow, high praise for Janny.
Very well said. Very well said.
Monty has a question for you. Never heard of Sylvia before, so I'd like to ask, fantasy, are you mostly fantasy or mostly science fiction? I know the answer to that, but please
And
take it away.
fantasy. My first love was probably science fiction, and it
Oh,
still is
really?
because I do enjoy science quite a lot. It's
Mm,
one of the things that I find fascinating. I watch a lot of those channels that review like nuclear catastrophes
mm,
and that kind of stuff in history. So taking that into the future and speculating, that kind of
mm,
speculative fiction, I really enjoy. But fantasy is the escape. We get a
yeah.
lot of bad stuff in real life, and I would like to read about other people experiencing things I won't, and suffering that way.
I want to escape my suffering by watching other people suffer.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I
So
totally
very
get that.
satisfying feeling.
You'd asked
You think it's bad here, but at least I'm not them.
Yeah, exactly, right? You had asked about comfort reads earlier, and I wanted to come back to
Yeah.
that too, because
Oh yeah, right. For that.
it's all right. I'm actually really excited that I remembered that. Um, so comfort reads, and I don't know if it's the same for you, but people always kind of give me a little bit of a side eye with my comfort reads because my comfort reads don't sound comforting to most people. I don't know if you have a similar experience because
Maybe.
if I reach for a comfort read and I'm really having a bad day and I need that heart and soul pick me up, it's going to be Red Rising. It's going to be White Fang. It's going to be Dead House Gates by Steven Erickson. Um, those are, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know
And
if you
White
have
Fang
a,
is a good choice. Yeah, I do. I have only one comforting comfort read, and that is Anne of Green Gables.
I have that on my list of
That's
things to
it.
talk about.
Although it also has some tragedies in it, but
Yeah.
generally speaking, that is a comfort read. Other than that, I do enjoy very cathartic
Mm,
books. And The Way of Kings of Brandon Sanderson is one of the comforting ones, even though it's like a lot of depression in it. But
yeah.
we ignore that. So generally speaking, I do enjoy very, very cathartic, very big stakes,
Mm,
something that I can say, yeah, like this thing in my life right now, it's not that difficult compared to this thing. And people are overcoming it, and through them overcoming it, you overcome things. Rereading, as I said to you before we actually started recording or filming or whatever, I spent my entire 20s rereading books that I have
yeah.
read as a child. The Little Prince is a comfort read for
Yeah.
me. And that's a weird one because it makes me cry every time. And it's allegory through and through, so
Yeah.
you get out of it what you were thinking about prior to it. So
Yeah.
that's one of those. But there are a lot of bloody ones
Yeah.
mostly.
Yeah. Well, The Little
Joe
Prince,
Abercrombie.
I completely understand. It's one of my husband's favorite books of all time, The Little Prince. And so he will periodically go back and reread it because it always makes him emotional too every time. So it's a yeah.
I
I
actually have a tattoo related to it.
Do you really?
I do, the scene with the fox.
Oh, cool. Okay, so how
Yeah,
many bookish tattoos do you have?
just that.
Just the one?
Everything else is non-bookish.
That's fair. I don't have
Oh
any
no, I
bookish
lied.
tattoos
I lied. I have for one for Peter Pan, but it's kind
Oh,
of me and my brothers instead of Peter Pan and Wendy and Herbert.
well, that's cool. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Um, let's see. I went too far on the chat. You guys are just gonna have to watch me struggle today. Um, let's see. Yeah, multiple books at one time. I feel like too, it allows you to be a mood reader without completely mood reading. You know, like if you have multiple
No,
books,
that's
you
fair.
say, well, today I'm thinking, I feel more like an epic fantasy, or I feel more like, I'm reading. My 9-year-old daughter wanted me to read one of her favorite series
Oh,
this
which
year,
one?
the Del Toro Quest.
Oh, I've
Um,
heard of that. Never read of that.
yeah, it's honestly really a great starter kids series for fantasy, and it has a lot of pretty cool, like if you're a nerd like me, and you
And
like,
not like me, like
not like
only
Sylvia, if you're a nerd like
like
me and you like digging into the text a little bit, I'm excited by how much I'm able to pull out of even this like middle grade series, which is something that I
yeah,
always look for when I'm giving my kids things to read. I don't want to just hand them something that's easy per se. I want them to have something that has some deeper themes in it and gives them something to think about as they're also having a fun adventure. So,
okay. But let me ask you the question that people that read only one book at a time are going to.
mm,
Don't you get confused when you read multiple things? And how do you keep it straight in your head? Because I also read multiple books, but
yeah.
again, I'm doing public service here.
Well, I think, and I'd be curious to hear your answer on this too. ADHD can also be a superpower because we're usually pretty good at multitasking, especially if we're really focused on something. And so I can compartmentalize things quite easily. Part of that's probably also trauma, but we won't get into that. So,
No.
no. But yeah, my brain has like, this is the book I'm reading. And when I close it, I can move to the next book and open it,
Mm,
and I'm back in that book. So I don't have as hard of a time jumping into different things at the same time. Um,
yeah.
my husband is very much I've got my one book, I pull that file drawer out, I put it back in, you know,
Yeah, I
um,
understand.
which is completely valid. Like there,
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
yeah. So how
I
about
I used to be
you?
able to read only one book at a time, but I think I've lost that ability. Like as you said, it's being, having ADHD, you are good at multitasking because you kind of need it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't keep one lane only unless I'm hyper focused on something in that moment, but
Yeah.
that rarely happens. And also, I take very meticulous notes, but not like the linear kind, more so I don't know if it's called visual notes. I know it's a thing
Mm,
that other people do as well, but it's more so like like a schema. I draw a little thing, I put a word there, put arrows, some
mm.
timelines, thing that can give me a picture of that. And I have one for pretty much everything that I read. I keep multiple files. It's chaotic, but I kind of know where things are,
It's
because if it was
organized
organized,
chaos.
I wouldn't have been lost.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's how I
So
do.
do you actually annotate in your books, or is that a separate like notebook kind of thing that you have where you take notes?
Different every time. I
I love
I
it.
can't keep it straight. Like I was reading The Heroes by Joe
Mhm.
Abercrombie. This is the last book I finished before I started Jani's book, and I was physically annotating in it. But
Mm.
sometimes I would read both the physical and the ebook, and I would keep the notes of the ebook within my Kindle, but then the notes for the physical book in Notes app on my phone and computer. It's a mess.
Yeah, no, yep, that sounds familiar. I totally get that. Yes, Monty, Silvia is in Bulgaria. And I'm trying to think,
Yeah.
we're 7 or 8 hours apart, I think.
Well, we
7?
are currently, I think we're 8 because we are GMT plus 3 at the moment.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, when we switch to summertime, we add it's a whole mess.
I I try to keep up. It is nice
Yeah.
having friends around the world from BookTube because it
Yeah.
does make me think about time zones a little bit more. Um, and also, I was talking to somebody else about this today. I can, and this is outside of books specifically, I care a lot more about what's happening on the global stage, like in other countries, now that I have friends, because you put a face to it, right? It's like,
Yeah,
oh, if something
absolutely.
happens in Indonesia, Patrick's there. Well, what's, or
Absolutely,
like
yeah. Yeah.
whatever.
Literally what I was thinking about.
Yeah,
Literally the person I was thinking about.
Patrick's, shout out to Patrick Leo. He's also amazing.
Yeah. He will
Um,
also never know that I'm a big fan of his.
I'll tell him. Be like, Silvia thinks you're great.
Yeah. Mike from Mike's Book Reviews is my favorite booktuber of all times. I have watched every single one of his videos. I don't know his family, but I feel like I know his family because he talks
Yeah.
about it. All of those things. He didn't know about it until he actually left a comment under one of my videos.
And then you're
So good.
like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Oh my God, I love your channel.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's funny how like it's there is a little mini celebrity culture on BookTube for sure, which is very odd in some ways, but I think, well, and I think it helps too that a lot of us in this particular sphere of booktube, and I can't speak for outside of it because I'm not in it, but I feel like we're all pretty open too, where we're just very, we kind of have a more conversational approach to our videos. We get to know the
Yeah.
people in our comments for the most part pretty well, and so it does feel like you're friends with a lot of these people because you've spent so much time on their channels and talking to them in the comments, and that's really special. I think it's created kind of a giant family sort of
Yeah.
in this area of booktube, and I love it. I love it here. So
Yeah, it's really cool. And I mean the fact that you can get to know these people just by watching their videos and then have a conversation like we do right now. It's still mind-blowing to me. It's
yeah,
it's such a beautiful thing.
it is. It's very cool. Marianne, hello, welcome. I'm a little behind,
Hi.
but Pete is very excited about the board games. That tells you how far behind
Ooh.
I am. Marianne also films and edits with iMovie. You know what?
Yeah.
If it works, do it. Like I upgraded to my camera a couple of years ago, and thanks to some wonderfully generous friends. But before
Yeah.
that, I had an iPhone 7. It was my video quality back then. I'm so sorry, everyone. Like, thank you for bearing with me through all of that. But yeah, you just, you know
It
what?
was perfect.
It's
It was
fine.
so perfect.
And I think it's a good reminder that if you have something to say and you want to be heard and you want to make a channel and talk about books, you don't need anything incredibly special to start. Just do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, let's see. Editing can be a headache for sure. I don't know, it's a lot.
It is. It is. And you know what's the worst thing? It's there's this being a perfectionist, but
Mhm.
not being great at something. You know that clash of realities that you want things to be perfect, but you can't be perfect. Not by you, I mean me. Like I don't know how to do a thing, and I'm trying seven different ways, and eventually I managed to make it look halfway okay. But
I think it's
I
a
know
little
how I
better
want
than
it to look
halfway
in my
okay.
head. It's one of those things that you can't convince me because I know
I
how I
know.
wanted it to look,
Yeah.
and then it didn't, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you're good for nothing. And then you put it out there, and people enjoy it, and I'm like, imagine how much they would have if it was stupid,
You gotta, so
ridiculous.
one of my favorite things that my one of my therapists of the last few years taught me that I need to like
You want for
tattoo
multiple?
inside. Well, I've had two in the last few years.
Yeah,
Yes, both incredible people that helped a lot. But I
often.
need to tattoo this inside my forehead, which is, don't let your expectations steal your victories.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
And
there was a saying in project management: don't let the perfect get in the way of the good.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, because otherwise you'll never do it.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Hello, hello, welcome. Let's see.
Hi.
Paul says, when it first came out, I tried to read Justice of Kings by Richard Swan and couldn't get into it. So I donated the hardback. Years later, I'm now reading it on the Kindle and loving it. That's awesome. Sometimes it's not the right time for a book, right? Like you come back to it
Perfectly
and you're like,
said.
how did I not love this the first time? Have you had any
Uh,
books like that?
Yeah, yeah, The Little Prince. But the
Mhm.
thing is that it was required reading back when I was a
Oh,
child, and I was 11 when they made us read it. I mean, at 11, I don't even know what's day, what's night, and they're asking me to read this very deep, and it's a genre technically is literary nonsense. And
mm,
in order to make sense of the nonsense, you need to have your brain together. And again,
right.
at 11, what am I gonna? We all thought it was stupid. My entire class, we thought it was
Yeah.
stupid. And it felt because there's not so much connection between things. And again, you make of it what you've lived through, you put your experiences and they shape what you experience from the allegory. And yeah, so this is one of those books. And I totally get it, donating a book and then years later deciding to read it. And
Yeah.
but
I have
you gave a good experience to somebody else. So
exactly. Somebody was very excited to get that hardback.
yeah,
I always
absolutely.
think about that when I let go of some of my books that maybe I didn't love so much, or I think I may not read it for a long time, and somebody buys it or gets it from me, and it's like, you know what? I'm happy that they're gonna have
Yeah.
a better experience sooner than I am.
Have you
Um,
had that kind of a book that you started once, didn't enjoy, and then came back to?
I'm trying to remember. Yes, and now, of course, my brain is going to tell me I've
Ah, of
never
course.
read a book in my life. It was very
Quick,
helpful that
quick,
way.
tell me an author. One author.
Um, I'm trying to think, what is one that I didn't love and then came back to? Because I know I've had some. I mean, my chat probably will remember better than I will, but, oh gosh. I would say, Gardens of the Moon by Stephen Erickson, I would say, is
Oh,
actually one, 'cause I enjoyed it the first time through, but only enough to get me to book 2, which was then became one of my
yeah.
favorite fantasy books of all time. But going back now and rereading Gardens of the Moon for the first time, and I am not one of the Malazan people that will tell you that you have to reread the series to get something out of it. That's absolutely not true. Um, you will get more out of it like you would with
Yeah,
anything.
absolutely.
But I reread Gardens of the Moon, this last year and was just like, "Oh my gosh, I love this." Like, I love it so much more than I did when I read it. In fairness, I was also, like, 20 or 21 when I read it the first time.
I
I had
see.
no idea what was going on.
I
Um,
still don't worry
yeah.
about it.
It's like have you tried Malazan yet?
I have. I read a few chapters a while back and I enjoyed it quite a lot. But I have one of those things where certain things need to be special. I
Yeah.
need to like get the attention and focus. And it doesn't help that all the community is saying, "Oh, this is the most difficult thing you'll ever have to blah blah blah," blah," which probably is true. But I also love that kind of things. I love it when it's complicated. When I go and do the board with the connections between everything.
Mhm.
So I enjoy this kind of things. But this is why I want to make sure that I can spare the attention. And
Right.
it's been kind of crazy month for like 2 years. So
Yeah, I feel that. Well, and I think
one
too,
day, one
I d
day, I have the Gardens of the Moon here.
and anytime if you start it at some point, I would love to talk about it, hear about
Yes,
it, anything you want to send me, I will be thrilled about.
I
Um,
will. Remember those words.
oh, I will. This is the open door invitation.
Yes,
Um, I think too, like one of the reasons I didn't start Wars of Light and Shadow with you guys in January was because I am trying to finish Malazan, and I took one look
yeah.
at those two series together, and I was like, absolutely not. I just
Now you
can't
gotta
do
grow two more heads in
it.
order to be
Right.
able to keep up.
I need a like a brain implant or something
Mm.
to be
Ooh,
able to
that'd
handle
be
that.
awesome.
Yeah, read
Yeah.
all the
Why are
books.
they working on that?
I mean, I feel like in 2025 we should be. They probably are,
Yeah.
we just don't know about it.
Like, where's my jetpack, my hover car, and my brain implant are like,
Yeah,
where is that?
yeah, all the science fiction books promised us so many things.
So betrayed. So betrayed.
Dream Master wants to know what our favorite fantasy weapons are. Great
Ooh.
question. That's a good one.
Hmm. It's gonna be something super basic.
That's
Bow and
fair.
arrow. I don't know,
There
really.
aren't enough bow and arrow protagonists, to be honest.
No, I'm
Yeah.
kind of pissed off. Well,
Well,
maybe in romantasy there are more because chicks tend to be more of
sure.
what do you call
Protag
arrows woman? What do you call the person that shoots bows and arrows?
An archer.
Oh my God. Don't tell anyone I said that.
You
An
didn't hear it from
archer.
me.
Yes.
You didn't hear it from me. I have so many times where I know the word and it's just like, no, you don't. It's
I
fine.
have played I have played Heroes of Might and Magic for the past 17 years nonstop, and Archer is one of the basic castle units, and
That's all right.
whatever.
I'm here for you. I got you.
Yeah, yeah.
I I don't know. I think this would be a different answer based on what I like to read about versus what I gravitate towards personally. So I love size, which are the short.
Oh,
They've
yeah,
got
yeah,
Raphael from
yeah.
TMNT, right? From Teenage
There you
Mutant
go.
Ninja Turtles. That's what I love to use. But or a katana.
To use? Where are you using that?
I have a pair
Tori,
of size.
where do you use that kind of stuff
I don't.
on
I
daily
mean,
basis?
if anyone
How do
ever
you
breaks
discipline your children? Is what
no,
I'm
if anyone ever breaks into my house, I'm good.
Ah,
Um,
nice.
I do
That's
love a
awesome.
katana. I love
Oh,
katanas.
yes.
They're
I
just
have a
such an
friend who
elegant
has a
weapon.
katana.
Mm.
And she actually does the thing where she goes and gains a rank,
Oh,
dance, whatever. I
cool.
don't know what the system. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
that's
like
very
a
cool.
pro with that thing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
She actually looks a lot like you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she does. The
My
hair and
doppelganger
everything.
from across the pond.
Yeah, absolutely. I gravitate towards certain women, certain
There you
type of
go.
women.
There you go. It's funny because I have noticed too with a lot of my friends that um, there are a lot of similarities, and I'm like, oh, I must just
Yeah.
collect this type of person.
I would have said that, but when I look at my friends, it's all kinds of people.
Yeah, it's true. I think like my inner circle, inner circle is pretty varied too, in fairness. So I do
Yeah.
collect a lot of ADHDers though.
Oh, well,
So
there you go.
there's a lot of us.
Well, there's
Um,
a lot of us generally speaking. But I
it's
really like
true.
what Brian said about his mom whenever
Yeah,
she can't think of words. Perfect.
I don't know the English word for that.
Perfect. Yeah.
Excellent.
I actually have said the same thing in Bulgarian that I can't remember the word in English. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Capricious Fox says her favorite fantasy weapon would be magic.
mm.
Yeah, that's
Ah,
fair.
that's
Good
cheating.
answer.
But yeah, it's a good
Sylvia
answer.
thinks you're cheating.
I'm kind of pissed I didn't think of that.
That's a good one. And I
Yeah, there
love
you go.
that somebody else thinks that White Fang is a comfort read. That is my
It
favorite book of all time.
White Fang, the Call of the Wild,
Mm, yeah,
pure
so good.
fantastic. You know what? I read them both like a comedy. I have a like a
A
anthology of the
combo.
two. Yeah, a combo. I read them in August 2 years ago. I think it was blistering hot, like
Mm,
on the surface of the sun, and I read them, and I still enjoyed them so much.
that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, White Fang has some wintry settings,
yeah.
so that maybe was helping with the oppressive heat a little bit.
Nothing was helping. I
Nothing
hate
so
summer. Don't tell anyone.
no, I do too. I'm a
It's
Nordic
the
girl,
worst.
so, like,
Yeah.
I need cold weather all
Mm.
way over hot every
I would
time.
have migrated to the somewhere Sweden or something in the north if it wasn't for the endless days in summer.
Yeah.
There's no winning.
Belltube says Slytherin is what are you Slytherin?
Yes,
I love that.
yes.
So am I.
Actually, I have a few girls that that group chat with the weird name where you
Yeah.
dump memes all day.
Yep.
Ours is called, and it's a big secret I'm revealing here, gay dinosaurs and fries with tofu. Don't
Love it.
ask. Yeah, none of
I
us
love
is
it.
gay. There's no dinosaurs there. I mean, I'm approaching the age where I can be considered, but uh, it's a long story. But
Yeah. No, I totally
we
get
we
that.
we were joking that all of us have a certain things that we always say. So one of our friends always reminds us whenever we receive a compliment to just say thank you and stop trying to, apologize for getting the compliment or, like make an excuse as to why we're actually not that good. She just always says, just say thank you for the love of God. And, and I always remind everybody to drink water. I just go around and tell people
Smart.
to drink water. And another friend of ours was like, it's like because there are four of us in the chat. She was like, we're like the four houses of Gryffindor, and we all have our words, and one of us is just say thank you, and the other one is drink water. And so we call my house Silverine because it's
Yep. Love it. Love it.
stupid. But yeah,
I
there you
love
go.
I
Nobody
love
needed
those
to
group
know this,
chats.
but now you do.
I did, because I love that I'm not the only person in group chats with weird names where we post memes. So
Yeah. Oh my God.
it's great.
If you,
Everybody needs
if
one of those.
people open my phone and read just the names of the chats, they'll think I'm insane. I can't even be sure they're not right.
You know, the older I get, the more convinced I am that most of us are a little bit insane, and that's okay.
Well, was it Seal who sang that we need to be a little bit crazy in order to
Yeah,
survive?
there you
There you
go.
go.
There you go. Let's see. I was making sure I saw another. Brian says, she's so close to my ancestral homelands. I wonder if my ancestors were run out of town. Probably. That checks out.
I mean, I can understand why they would have been. Brian, you need to visit. Like for
Yeah.
real, Romania is right there. Beautiful castles, beautiful country, cheap-ish, relatively.
Yeah. I would love so much. I've never been outside the US, and I would really like to, because there's
I mean, the
so many.
U.S. is pretty big, so
There's a lot of things to see here.
yeah,
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
lifetime.
Um, but I would really love to visit some other countries and to get to see, especially because, someplace like Europe that has, I mean, pretty much anywhere outside of the
Anywhere.
US, in terms of just like the historical landmarks and the castles and would be really cool to see. Um,
Yeah, so many
but
beautiful places.
I have not read Wheel of Time, and that's
I
so.
am reading it. It's complex, but I wouldn't call it too complex. It's oh my God. I would get a little bit of hate for my opinion on Wheel of Time,
Go for
but
it. Not here.
there's a there's a lot of I love this story. Let me
Mm,
just start with that. Start with the good thing, so you don't think that I'm just sitting here hating on the your favorite series. I love the story. I love the world. I love the magic system. Love, love, love it. What
mm,
I don't love is I don't know how the domestication of the storyline where
mm.
we have chicks yelling at each other the whole time about nonsense like dresses and who's gonna wash the dishes today. Like it's like what are we talking about? Like
Yeah.
I've talked about this I think in my worst books of 20 most disappointing books of 2024. I was talking about a book that I gave 4 stars to, a book that I actually enjoyed, but this thing really, and we get frustrated by different things. So
Mhm.
there are probably people who never even noticed, and if they did, they didn't care. But this to me is one of the things that I can't stand is when people waste time in getting like denying me the story that I want to read so that I can
Yeah,
sit here listening to these people yell at each other about things nobody cares about.
yeah.
So,
That's fair.
so I don't think it's more complicated than Malazan because from what I've heard, I haven't read Malazan, is that how you pronounce it?
Malazan.
But I've heard that it's very complex. I wouldn't say that Wheel of Time is very complex. It's interesting. It's vast. It's big. The world is huge. There's a lot going on, but you can keep up. Anybody can keep up, honestly.
Yeah. I have the opinion that, the Malazan fandom actually does the series a very big disservice
Mm,
by constantly talking about how complicated it is, because it's not that it isn't a complex series, but I think the way they talk was like, "Oh, like, it's the hardest thing you will ever read, like, get your
yeah,
notebooks out," and it's like, "No, you don't need to do that." Like, there's enough there. His character work, in my opinion, is a good balance with the vastness of everything else, so that, yeah, there's a lot going on, there's a lot of complexity, but there are intimate character stories that you follow that you really care about and get invested in
yeah.
within that scope of the larger story. So
Ah,
yeah,
sounds awesome.
I love it so much. I anytime. Monty wants to know if you've read Thomas Covenant.
No, I have not. I have not. You know, as I mentioned earlier, I spent my entire 20s just rereading things that I had loved as a child, and I learned to read very early, and I read quite a lot. But I have lost time, and I have to now make up for that lost time with reading a lot of things that like catching up, as they say, reading the staples and whatnot. But I have not gotten yet to Thomas
Yeah,
Covenant, and I have it on the TBR. It's like
the
TBR
never ending.
mountain at this point.
Um, Wizard, this is a hot take on my channel. um,
Damn.
it's all right. Wizard,
Shots
Wizard's
fired.
probably well. No, that's probably your actual opinion. I was gonna say you're probably joking,
No.
but no, you're probably not. Um, that's fair. I'm not offended. I am one of those very mature booktubers
Yeah,
who
yeah, yeah, yeah. We're
avoid being offended.
here. We're like, oh, maturity all the way through. Come
Yeah,
on,
all
nobody.
the maturity.
All the maturity, absolutely.
Um, let's see. Yeah, so in the Bloodstones, my epic fantasy book, I have a female warrior character named Sindri who is very fun to write because she just sort of does things. She's
Mhm.
very impulsive and instinctual, and that's very fun as a writer because she just goes, and she does do a fair amount of whooping
Yeah.
in the book. Yeah.
What's the most difficult thing to ride? The most like,
Um, I slow down a lot on dialogue, conversations
yeah.
between characters. Yeah,
I would
because
think those would be the most fun.
I think a lot of I enjoy them, but I want to make sure that, like you said, if people are going to slow down to talk to each other, that it matters and what they're saying makes sense, and that it you know is engaging. I love writing action sequences, and those go pretty
Oh,
fast for me, but dialogue is something I really slow down on and really have to like think through and talk out each side of it and make sure that it
yeah.
makes sense.
I have a
Um,
friend who never reads, always skips the action scenes, by the way. I
no,
know. Yeah, we have.
no.
I was so upset. I was like, like we call it the fish mime. It was like,
Why?
how? Why?
I mean, I'm not, if there are people who don't enjoy reading action scenes, I'm not going to say they can't be that way. But I think because I love them so much
Yeah,
when they're
me
well
too.
written. When they're well written.
I
Um,
think the only time I've gotten like I've gotten sick of a fight scene, I think it was Lightbringer series. What's the first
oh,
book?
Brent Weeks.
Brent Weeks. It was like 25,000 pages of a fight. And I was like, end it already.
Yeah. Yeah, that
No,
sometimes,
but I also
and
like the book.
if it's very stiff too, if the person is writing it the way like, and then he parried, and then he, that's really boring to read. Don't do that.
All right.
Andrew says I really struggle with horse scenes. Yeah, you caught me.
Horse teeth.
No, I so
Wait, wait, I need more context for this.
I write horses in most of my books because I'm a
I
rider and
know.
I've
I
forever,
know
right?
you have a
Yeah,
family thing going on there.
yeah. So yeah, I Brian actually, bless him, read my fantasy western that's coming out, Cold Silver,
Yeah, yeah.
and he said, "I love it, but there's a lot of horse stuff in here." It was like, "Yep, sorry, Brian, that's not coming out."
All right. May I ask you an uncomfortable question? In
Sure.
uh in your I think newbie, but one of your earlier videos, you said that
Mhm.
you don't like reading westerns. What's that about?
Did I?
Yes, you did.
Um, I don't remember that. I will have to go back and watch
Yeah.
that. I I wouldn't say that westerns, like, so I haven't read a ton of westerns. I've seen a lot
Mm,
of western films, and I think for me, a lot of sometimes when the westerns, especially in the film area, because I have more experience with that, tend to lean a little bit more toward the spaghetti western side of things, where they're just a little bit more silly. I don't like that.
So that's what spaghetti western means?
Yeah, they're a little bit more
I never
like
knew that.
tongue in cheek, like
I
I don't know.
see.
Chat, help me out. How would you describe a spaghetti western? They're not meant to be like a really serious, deep story
Yeah.
usually.
Okay.
Um, and so that westerns, I read Lonesome Dove
Mm.
last year.
I know that it wasn't your favorite.
No, it wasn't. I liked the western aspect of it. Um, but I have a couple other ones on my I'm trying to expand my reading taste. We'll put it that
Mm.
way. So one of the
Yeah.
ways that I know I've changed a lot as a reader in the last few years is I was very particular about I like this thing and that's what I like to read. And as
Yeah.
I've been on BookTube longer, I've been really expanding into different genres and finding out that I do actually like other things outside of that and just,
Right?
wild. So that's a question I would have for you because that's actually a video I'd like to make in the near future is like talking about how my reading tastes have changed over the years. And
Yeah.
I'd be curious to know if you've noticed certain things that you like more now or less.
I have like well, I like I don't think there's anything I like less. There are things that I've never liked and I still don't.
That's fair.
Romance. But generally speaking, I used to dislike literary fiction very
Mm,
much. I
mhm,
found it, I don't know what I found it. I thought it was boring.
mm,
I was wrong, but and I always thought because I in my earlier videos I have said, oh, certain things I would never read. Oh, this is something that's not for me, and I was very, uh, very sure of myself. And then I know for a fact that I have made a hypocrite of myself later on because things have, but I don't know if you can call it a hypocrite or just the change that happens with
yeah,
life. Your priorities change, and therefore the things that excite you in books change.
yeah,
I, you know, I remember loving Twilight, for example, even though I'm not a romance person, but I
mhm,
read it when I was very, very young.
right,
So
yeah.
when I read books like that right now, I can't stop rolling my eyes. I get headaches from
So
eye
Twilight
rolling.
wouldn't hold up for you on a reread now?
I probably still would.
Okay.
Damn it.
Hey, no judgment.
But it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So but
But
can you really be a romance hater? Can you really call yourself a romance hater if you would enjoy Twilight? I don't know, Sylvia.
it's what I told you before we actually started the live. If I go into a book
Yeah,
expecting romance, I'm more tolerant of it.
sure.
My
Yep,
problem
yep.
is that I try to evaluate it logically, which is a stupid thing to do when it comes to romance because it's the often the opposite of the logic has no certain place in it. And but if I see it in a fantasy, it pisses me off. I'm reading about it's why I give Wheel of Time hard time sometimes
Yeah,
because it's not like flooded with romance, but it would pop
right.
up every now and then in the like most annoying ways. Like, eh, come on, come on,
I will
grow up,
be
get it over with. I don't need to see this. Get a room off page.
right. Well, yeah, and I think I don't know about for you, but for me especially, I bounce off of sexual content very quickly in
Yeah.
books, very quickly, and because for the same reason, I don't feel the need to be there. You know what I mean?
Uh,
Like it's just
Let me
I don't
paint
need
you a word picture, Tori. Every
oh
time,
boy.
it's like every time I see people getting it on, I have the picture of me, on the
Yeah,
door
just like
thingy. Like, I can't do this. People say, but don't you like feel like you can identify with the woman in the picture? I'm like, no, I'm like right there staring at them doing it.
nope.
It's the worst thing I can think of. Well,
Yeah.
not the worst, but top three.
It is funny because quite a few times when I get to scenes like that in books, I get so frustrated. I start critiquing everything that they're
Yeah.
doing.
Ooh,
I'm just like, actually,
literally what I've done. Literally what I've done. Like the Hater Reads Romance thing that I do in
I just
February.
watched that.
Yeah, it's like I start thinking, listen, girl, that's not how it's gonna happen. It's like
Yep. You put our judgmental glasses on.
Actually,
Actually,
fedora and everything.
yeah, well, yeah. My husband has a bunch of fedoras in the closet, so that would work.
Well, he's a closeted fedora man, is what you're trying
Oh
to say.
no, out
Oh no, he's
out and
out there.
proud fedora man. Oh yeah. When I
Very
met
nice.
him in high school, he was one of the only high school boys I knew that would proudly wear a trench coat and fedora hat because he's
Tell me
that
he want. Oh, this is awesome. I can just see it.
he's
Tell me he
amazing.
won you with my lady. Please
He
tell me he did it.
Well, he did make me a very meticulously crafted paper rose when we were
Oh my
dating
god.
and wrote me poetry.
Oh my
So,
god.
I'm just saying, guys,
Would you
like
read some of it for us now, please?
I could. Well, I'd have to ask him if he's okay with that first. But yeah, we actually on our give me 1 second.
Yes, all the time. Now, while Tori is gone, quick, tell me what you think. Really think about her behind her back. Ah, damn it, she's back.
I heard that.
Oh, damn it.
So on the wall of our room up here, this is actually a poem that he wrote me, and
Oh my
it's in
god, that's the
cursive,
cutest
so
thing.
um, and I'd have to ask his permission to be able to read it for everybody. But yeah,
Oh,
he
this
made
is so
me this whole
beautiful.
thing. He's a very romantic, wonderful human being, and just yeah, I'll talk about him all day. He's great.
That is
um,
so cool. It's
it
so
helps.
beautiful.
He's also a very big book nerd, and that has been one of my favorite parts of our relationship, as like the friendship side of our
Yes.
relationship, because we have great long conversations about books and characters, and it's great. I love it. But
Do your kids think you're cool?
our kids are all pretty bookish. My son
Nice.
is he's an introverted bookworm, and so
Oh,
he'd be thrilled to stay in his room for an entire week and do nothing but read books. He'd be totally
yeah,
fine with that.
I can
Um,
relate.
Same, yeah. And my husband reads, and we read aloud to them every night. We usually split them up or whatever, and we have different books going at any
Yeah,
given time, and they love it. So yeah, I mean,
awesome.
they kind of can't avoid being raised in a book
Nope,
house,
they
and
had
that's
no
okay.
chance.
No
No
chance.
chance.
Um, Brian says he's helping us out with the spaghetti western. Is lower budget that the studio? Yeah, it's usually a pretty low budget thing as well. So
Yeah, okay. On a
yeah,
spaghetti, but wow.
yeah.
That's a very interesting way to get to that term.
They are spaghetti because they were filmed in Italy. Yeah, that is true. I know, not a lot of them were filmed in Italy, which is very
No way.
weird.
Italian Western?
Yeah,
That's all I want to watch now.
there
I
you
don't
go.
watch movies, but I'd watch that. It
You know what?
quick, give up. Sorry, that was very offensive.
No, you're good. Uh, that's awesome. Hey, if you love spaghetti westerns, more power to you. I'm not.
Oh, Bud Spencer and Terrence Hill were the kings of our house. We had a poster. I have
Mm,
two brothers. We had a poster of those two. We would slap each other because the big guy was doing
oh yeah,
like that. That's all the fighting he did.
yeah,
And we would do that to each other. My mom would go like she would go crazy every time she would see us do this. But yeah,
yeah.
good times. I can
That's
totally relate.
I'm an only child, so I love hearing. I'm so fascinated by siblings. You guys are
Yeah,
really
we weren't
interesting.
that fascinating. Just super annoying.
That's awesome. Paul says it's refreshing to hear positive words about a husband on the internet. I agree, Paul. Like
Right?
honestly, I don't know why all these people got married to each other if they hate each other so much. Like it's really sad, and I wish
Yes.
that people would find ways to love each other more, because my husband is the most amazing human being ever, and I love him, and I will always say positive things about him because he's awesome. So, thank you.
That's so lovely. I absolutely agree. And people claim that they love each other, but they don't act lovingly, and
Yeah.
disrespecting your partner on the internet like that.
It's
It's
sad.
ugly. Yeah.
We've had people ask us in the past. We got married very young, and we got married while we were still in college, and we had people actually ask us legit like, "Why do you do everything together? Like, why are you always?" I'm like, "Because I want to be around him." Like, is that weird? It shouldn't be weird.
No, That's just a stupid question. Like, what's
Yeah,
the answer you're expecting? What are you implying? What?
I can't stand being around my husband. I need a
Yeah.
break is not something I've ever said. But yeah, so one of the things I found very interesting while I was going back through and watching a bunch of your videos, you had an Ask Me Anything Q&A video.
Oh,
You like classical music,
I do.
jazz,
Yes,
musicals,
I
and
do.
metal, which I
Guilty
would
as
not
charged.
have guessed. I would not have guessed that.
Well, yes,
That's
yes,
awesome.
I do. Yeah, well, it's the metal part is influenced by an ex-partner who was a
Sure.
guitarist in a metal
Oh,
band,
cool.
and you know, I used to think he was meaningless screaming, and later on, when you start noticing the intricacies, metal songs are some of the most complex and complicated,
I believe it.
like technique-wise. There are like so many things, and you can never hear it because it's all at the same time. You have to be
Mhm.
really like proficient in listening. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
you have to know music in order to understand how complex it is. And some of them have the most beautiful lyrics, like the most
Yeah.
deep, meaningful lyrics, and you will never know. I mean, not if you don't pay attention is what I
Right.
mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, he got me into it, and yeah, I have been. I don't know. I find a lot of them very beautiful and very cathartic in a
Yeah.
way.
That's awesome. I didn't know
Yeah,
pirate metal was a thing until you said
Ailstorm. I advise you to check Ailstorm. A lot of funny songs. They have this one that I very much enjoy. The Nancy's. No wait. Harbor Cafe. I don't know if that's the title, but that's part of the lyrics. It's just it's such a nice like sailor song, but it sounds really good.
that's
And
awesome.
most of them are party songs either way, but they're funny.
Yeah. Carrie says a lot of metal is a short fantasy story set to music.
Absolute. Oh my God, that's such a beautiful way of saying it.
Yeah, that's really cool. Um, we have to talk about Pratchett a little bit.
Let's do it.
Okay, so you've read Guards, I know. What else of his
Yes.
have you read? You've read Small Gods?
Uh, yes, I have small gods. Fantastic. I, look at birds a different way now. With a little bit of a, distaste, if I may say it that way. But I found it fantastic. I've read Mort, a few others. I can't think of the titles right now, but Guards is still number one for me.
Yeah,
And as
I
I said to you, I have reread it since without mentioning it.
I love that. I think that's the sign for me. Like we talk about writing books, right? And we have and I've talked to other people about this too, where we have 5 stars, right, that we give out, but there's different levels of 5
Yes.
stars, right? There's, "Wow, that was a great book. That was just a really good book," and I would recommend it to a lot of people. And
Mm,
then we have, "This book meant so much to me personally that I gave it 5 stars."
yeah.
And then there's those books that you just, like just on an objective level, you're like, "This is a five-star book. It doesn't matter what I think about it. It's just a
Yeah,
five-star
yeah.
book." And yeah, there's I don't know.
There
It's
are books that I would give 5 stars only in a certain context. Like
sure, right.
if you're looking for, let's say, YA, whatever, whatever, this is going to be 5 stars in that context because I think that's important.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but as you said, there are those that I would say are objectively good,
Mhm.
even though, let's be honest, no two people will have the exact same opinion, but you can look at them technically, like in terms of writing, in terms of structure, in terms of uh, detail, all
Mhm.
of those things, character development to an extent. Like you can have technically great book
Right.
that you can say this is objectively good, but then there's those that like you can say anything. You can tell me this is wrong, this is
Mhm.
factually wrong. I will still say no, this is a 5 star. And I have a few of those, and I think Guards is one of these because to me, I think this is technically great book.
Mhm.
It's start to finish. I read it within a day, I think. Start to
Yeah.
finish, it's perfect. One thing I will say, there's no chapters. So if you're one of
Oh,
those people
drives
that,
me nuts.
yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, it's a thing.
Yep,
It pisses me off usually, but I will forgive this man anything when it comes to this book.
it's
And
true.
so the characters are hilarious. They're interesting. They are all different, and they're like the perfect Motley Crew. Like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just so good. Like you start with this the most clueless protagonist you can think of, and like through his lack of understanding and knowledge, he gets himself like with his dwarf parents in the beginning. I have like I started laughing on the first page.
Oh, yeah.
It was so good,
It's
so
so
good. And then the city guard, the state that they were in, and every single character, every single detail about them was just perfect. And that then the lady is
Lady Sybil.
one of my favorite. Like she's just like so specific,
Mhm.
and and the way that the author describes her, just perfect. And then the representation of dragons in this book, I have like it's so original and so
Yeah,
funny.
yeah,
I can't it's my favorite representation of dragons. I know it's not the most epic representation of dragons, but it's my favorite hands down. And I think I've said that before about Terry Pratchett, but it takes a special kind of talent and intelligence to be able to not only tell an interesting story, but to do so whilst making fun of it.
yeah.
It's so
Absolutely.
cool. It's
Absolutely true.
so great.
He knows fantasy so well that he's able to make fun of it in a way that's actually
Yeah.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
I I am so excited for you to continue that series.
Me
Like, I
too. I
can't
have it
handle
all
it.
here.
I'm
It's
so
right. I
excited.
mean, you can't see it, but I have it all right here.
I'm so excited, and especially if you already love Lady Sybil is
Mm.
amazing. I just finished, Fifth Elephant with
All
Ben,
right.
my husband, and we just I loved it. I loved it so much. It's now my second favorite City Watch book. Um,
Yeah.
and just the Lady Sybil arc in that book
Oh my God, I can't wait. Oh,
is so
now I want to throw away my TBR
do
and
it.
just read this.
Do it.
I
Throw it
probably will.
out.
Don't tell anyone.
I won't. You didn't hear it from me.
Stays here between us.
Because if you I loved Guards, but I I really fell head over heels for the series in book 2. So if you
Yeah.
already love Guards that much and the Motley Crew aspect and all of that, Men at Arms takes the Motley Crew and dials it up to like 15.
Oh my
It's
God.
amazing. It's so
So
good.
good.
And some of the best characters in the series you haven't even really met yet. So I'm excited for you. I'm so excited.
All right. So when I ruined my TBR for April, guys, this is the culprit here.
I will take full responsibility for that.
Yes, please do. Please do. I expect you to come out and apologize officially
I
on.
will do an official apology video on my channel.
But please do it with a ukulele,
Yes.
if
Yes.
you know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, I won't be watching anyone else on YouTube, for apology video tips just because I feel like
No.
this
Listen,
there are some decent
here's the
ones,
starter
but
pack. The starter pack is you wear a hoodie, which you do sometimes, so I
I
think you'll
do.
be cool.
I have lots of those,
And
yeah.
you need to fake cry. So try not to
Okay.
put any
Okay.
no tears,
Okay.
please.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the most important
But
part.
if I
Everything
squinch my
else.
eyes up a little bit
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
You do,
Okay.
but try no tears. Everything else is optional.
Perfect. I think I can handle that. Yeah, I got it.
There you
I have enough booktube experience now that I feel like
go.
I can I don't know if I could it is funny because I have to, like, on a serious note, I
Yeah,
obviously, I have a slightly elevated energy when I'm on camera, but it's
yeah,
just me, like, I'm like this in real life, sorry, guys. Um, and, like, it's always interesting to me when you watch channels, especially outside of BookTube, I see this a lot more, where people are, like, putting on a specific, uh, act or facade or something for us, and sometimes you have to do that, and that's
yeah.
fine, but it's just I don't know if I could do that. I don't think I could do it.
This is very admirable. Admirable? Is that how you pronounce
Yeah,
that?
admirable, yeah.
And it's a lovely thing. I think I do. I think I put a bit of a persona when I watch my
That's fair.
TBR videos, but specifically my TBR videos. I try to be this TV show host kind of thing, and
It
it's
works.
not
It's great.
conscious, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
It just comes out, and then I watch it later. I'm like, what are you? It's why I don't watch my videos. Once I put them out there, it's over between us.
Mm,
They belong to the internet.
that's fair. I go back and rewatch my discussion videos quite a bit because
Oh
I
yeah,
I
okay,
love that. I love going back and, um, re-listening to conversations with friends and,
yeah.
that's fun. But
Especially if you participated in the conversation because you're trying to, be on, then
yeah,
watching them afterwards from the side, it's completely different.
yeah, it is. Lantern wants to know, this brings up an interesting point. Is 0.5 stars a possibility on Goodreads? It's not. It should be, but it's not.
No, no, they
Um,
don't have cuffs.
it's so dumb. Storygraph and Fable both allow you to those apps both allow you to
Yeah.
do quarter and half stars. But another thing that Silvia has that I have been obsessed with recently is I have tried several different like reading tracker spreadsheets.
Ah, yes.
And I had a couple that were working, but it wasn't like quite right for me. And it's going to be very different for each person,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
everybody's going to jive with a different style of spreadsheet and keeping track of different things and all of that. But I tried Sylvia's spreadsheet recently, and that is what I'm using this year because I love it.
Like,
It's
here you go.
it's so pretty. First of all, it's really pretty.
Don't cry in front of people.
And I love it. And I've been it's like the perfect amount of tracking for me because I've had a couple that weren't enough and a couple that were
Yeah.
just too much. Um and yeah, I settled on yours finally because it was the one that I kept
So
coming
happy
back
to hear
to.
that.
So that is
You
also
know,
on her channel, by the way, guys. Go
absolutely.
click the free link to, like, she literally made us because she's that cool. Made us a reading tracker that we can use and put a link to it. So go check out
Thank you so much,
her
Tori.
channel and grab that.
Well, I do work as a data analyst, and a big part of my job is beyond managing the database. It's
Mhm.
creating reporting. And one
Sure.
thing I've noted for multiple different clients, and one thing I've noticed that it's better rather to give too little than to give too much, because
Mhm.
once you pass a certain threshold, it becomes difficult to understand,
Yeah,
overwhelming for people, and they just stop looking at it
that
because
makes sense.
it doesn't help them. So give them a few things, and then if something is really necessary, more than one person is going to start asking for it, and then you can add it. But if people are like, I wonder if I can track this thing, we can
Mm,
find a way to do it. But
yeah,
never go overboard is my policy, if I can
yeah,
put it that way.
absolutely. Yeah, it's a really nice amount of, and one of my favorite things is the oh gosh, what's it called? When it auto populates for you,
Ah,
where you make I've spent hours second for the second time this year cataloging my entire library just so I could use Sylvia's spreadsheet.
oh, that's so
Yeah,
nice.
it's great. It auto populates, so when you're going over to the part where you're putting in your journal list of books that
Yeah.
you've read and you type like the fifth elephant, it immediately puts in everything from your library sheet, which is a small thing, but I love it. It's great.
Yeah, and then once you rate it in the journal sheet, it populates the rating in the library sheet. And one thing, I started working on a tool that's actually an interface and a URL, basically a, a, a web platform where you can do this, but like in a more like automated form, something like Goodreads, but a little more structured and clean. But I actually scraped that project because data security and stuff, I would have to
Mm,
create accounts, and I don't want to deal with GDPR, so I
that's
decided
fair.
not to
Yeah.
do that. But one thing I think I want to do with the spreadsheet is that I would like to reverse the order of display in the journal so that
Mm,
the most recent ones
yeah.
appear on top automatically without you having to move them physically. Because now if you've read 300 books, say, you have to scroll to the thing every time you refresh the sheet, and it's not very user friendly. I mean, it's not the end of the world, it's an
Mm,
inconvenience, but I would like to fix that, and I probably will at some point when I
yeah.
have 3 seconds to spare.
So when you're not working and you're not reading, what
I'm
are and you're
sleeping.
not that's the do you like, are there other hobbies, things that you enjoy, things you like to go
Yeah.
out and do? Like, what does a
Yeah,
Sylvia day look like?
well, I don't, or until somewhat recently, let's say, I didn't have pretty much any other hobbies. My free time was spent mostly reading. I don't watch videos. I don't watch YouTube unless I'm doing something else, as I mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
I don't keep up with social media. Like I don't have TikTok. It pisses me off. I tried it once. It's so frustrating. Like, what is this? But I'm old, as you can see. Age reveal, and then I have an Instagram, but I post there with the frequency of the Halley's comet passing. Mostly I read, but somewhat recently, again a few months ago, I started doing salsa and bachata dancing, and
Ooh,
that has
very
been
cool.
so fun, so fun. It's
That's
really, really fun.
awesome. I'm
Yeah,
assuming
yeah.
that's something you go out and do it with a group?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
I started with it's something that all my life I have been telling myself, you're not the kind of person that does this. And I'm not. I'm very solitary person. I have spent weeks without meeting other people, and I've been totally fine until somebody checks if I'm alive. Uh, I don't necessarily go socialize a lot. I
Yeah.
create the impression that I'm very social, but I'm not. And so for many years, I have been telling myself, you're not that kind of person. I was like, well, but why not? Why
Yeah,
not? And
good
I
for
went.
you.
It was one of the most difficult things I've ever had to go through, to go and meet this new group of people and,
Mm,
do something like that. But it's so relaxing, so good. If you've ever wondered whether you should do it, or like looking for something new to do, find a group if possible for you, and go ahead and do it, because let me tell you, for that 1 hour a day, you forget all the issues. Like your brain goes so quiet, and it's so nice and so relaxing, and you just it's an easy movement. It's not too demanding. You don't go out of there exhausted wanting to throw
mhm,
up or whatever. You just go out refreshed. It's such a
mhm.
beautiful energy, and you don't have to be perfect at it, obviously. uh Nobody is born uh, perfect in things, but it's such a lovely thing, such a lovely thing. Highly recommend, highly recommend.
That's awesome. I know that's something that Ben and I have talked about a lot is that
You should do it. Oh my
we'd really like to learn, like, flamenco or
Yeah.
something like that.
Oh,
We've
so
talked
good.
about that a lot.
I would recommend you start with salsa, though,
Yeah.
because flamenco is very technical to my
Yeah,
understanding, and
yeah.
but once you start with something a little more easy, and salsa, New York style specifically, is very easy to
Okay.
learn. It's very popular right now. There's a lot of salsa parties if you'd like to go and
Nice.
do that. At
Try
least
it.
in Europe. I don't know how it is in US, but it's very popular right now. You can learn it easily, and then once you gain that love, you can start building on top of that. I'm sure you're gonna love it. You should do
Yeah.
it.
I would really like to do I mean, it's a little tricky right now just because our kids are young enough where, um,
I
we do
understand.
get time to go out, but not as much.
Yeah, I understand. It's a
Yeah.
little more complicated with children.
It is, which is fine, and, like, also, we're weird parents in that we also enjoy hanging out with our children, which is apparently weird.
What?
So we're just having
It,
a good time over here, and I don't know, apparently that's a weird thing.
it's the most preposterous thing I've ever heard
I
of.
know, what?
I am flabbergasted, whatever that means. No, but people don't like, people actually say that it's weird that you enjoy hanging out with your
Well,
kids.
I think and, like, not I don't ever wanna diminish parenting is hard, right? Parenting's
Ah,
hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever
breaking
done.
news, guys.
Yeah, breaking news. And it's exhausting, and there's different hard things about each age. When
Yeah.
they're babies, you just don't sleep at all, which is
I
really
mean, that's
tough.
overrated. It's a hoax.
It
It's
is.
hoax
Yeah,
by the government to
we don't need
control
it.
us.
We don't need sleep, really.
Yeah.
I discovered that, my middle daughter did not sleep basically hardly at all for 2 years
Oh my
straight.
God.
And I was a zombie for for about 2 years. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's hard because I feel like so many parents really struggle with wanting to be around their kids and just to being able to relax and just like spend
Yeah, I
time with
understand.
them and I can understand like it's hard. I get that. It is. But
Yeah, yeah, I understand.
But yeah, I love my kids. I like being around my kids.
You're weird, Tori.
I
You're so
know.
weird.
Sorry. I got to get with it here.
Ah, lovely. It's lovely.
Monty says Sylvia's next Instagram post 2061.
Yeah, I've scheduled it already. Don't
You
worry.
scheduled it. Yeah, it's scheduled. Yeah. I hope it doesn't take that long
Ah,
for the next TB. Am I being too obvious here? The next TBR game shouldn't be in 2061. Is that fair?
now I kind of want to postpone it just to see how.
To see
No,
how
I'm joking.
stressed I get. I'm gonna make
Listen. Come hell or high water, I am posting it tomorrow. That's it.
yay. That makes me very
And
happy.
now watch a flood come tomorrow just to prove me wrong.
Well, if it doesn't post tomorrow, my first video this week will be a rant review
Rant.
of Sylvia's channel.
No, and then I'll have to react to your rant.
Yeah.
We can form a thing here, you know.
Yeah, it's great. Let's see. Bell Tube, Brian loves that you're doing salsa. Disco would be better, but still great.
I mean, I don't think I'm cool enough to pull off disco, Brian.
Disco, yeah, disco's one of those. I don't know. It's one of those things.
One of those things, indeed.
I agree, Lantern. A regularly scheduled activity that involves a group needs to come back in style ASAP. Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Once I rise to power, that will be mandatory. So don't worry.
Perfect. Sylvia for
Yeah.
president.
By the way, Abel is a 50% Venezuelan. Oh,
That's
thank
so
you.
awesome.
So cool. So cool.
Also, everyone, Abel's debut fantasy novel is coming out
I'm
pretty
so
soon.
excited.
I can't wait. You guys should all check it out because the cover,
Yeah.
first of all, the cover is amazing.
My God.
So
And
good.
if you've ever heard Abel speak, you know that he understands.
Yeah.
Okay? So
He knows
I can only
fantasy.
imagine how. Yeah.
It's going
Oh
to be
my
great.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody go check
But
that out.
Abel, do you dance? I would like to inquire about that.
Inquiring minds need to know.
Yeah. Asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend. All right. So Sylvia, you are a big Abercrombie fan.
I have been known to enjoy his books on occasion, yes.
A little bit, just a little. I gathered that from the videos that you do.
Right.
Sometimes they're okay. So I was wondering, as an Abercrombie fan, if you can convince me to keep reading Abercrombie.
Well,
Because
no.
like no.
Next question.
Great. Cross that one off the list. Yeah, so the standalones. So I've read First Law and I've read Shattered Sea. And I hated the endings of both.
Yes.
And Last Argument of Kings, which you probably already know this, but was one of the in the last couple of years, there's only been a couple of books that made me mad enough that I wanted to throw them across the room. That was one of them. However,
yeah, I can understand exactly what pissed you off so much about it.
Yeah.
I did not expect it, but I liked it. Anyways.
I've heard that especially within the standalones. First, I've heard that the last series, the last trilogy, which you more recently read, is some of his best work. And okay, cool. And also that most of the people that know my taste have told me to read the Heroes specifically, that they think I will like that better.
And I will tell you why.
Okay.
Now, first things first. There is one thing by Abercrombie that I did not enjoy, and that is Best Served Cold. And that is because I ultimately think that
you and Monty.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. No, I've outlined in a specific video why I disliked it so much, but I ultimately disliked the way that the story was represented. Kind of, I think, why you might have disliked The Last Argument of Kings, because one specific character was, there was like a what do you call twist about one particular character that pissed off a lot of people. And similar thing in Best Served Cold, but like the other way. And I was like, where's the responsibility? Where's the ownership? Like, really pissed me off. Even though very well written book.
Sure.
So So that one I wasn't a big fan of. And again, I didn't, I gave it 3.5 stars or something like that. But still, the heroes, the perfect Motley Crew,
Mm,
you will see, like the way that it's written, it focuses on one specific war, let's call it that, even
mm,
though it's like a series of battles, but it focuses on a motley crew of like very interesting characters. And the way that they are represented is, you see their inner thoughts and then their actions, and often there's like dissonance between the two things, but in a way that's kind of funny and kind of tragic.
yeah.
There is some secondary characters from the first books are
Okay.
being very well represented here, and like the ones that you would least expect, and the
Okay.
ones that you would least expect that you would like, you can not that you would like, but that you would feel very strongly about,
Mm,
you do out of nowhere. Like
mm,
there is one character from the first book that's a main point of view in this one, and in the first book he was like, yeah, okay, he was there, and he was a part of the things, but then in this one you're like, oh my god, I never even thought that there could be so much depth in this character,
mm,
because he was kind of like a caricature in the first one, and that's how
sure.
people actually see him, and you see how he reacts to that, and like the the whole thing, the humanity of it.
Yeah.
I lose the ability to talk when I'm so excited about things.
I
And
love
he's
that.
not the only one. So many, so many beautiful scenes and so many beautiful little things. If you take pretty much every single chapter by itself, I enjoyed it.
Mm,
Every single chapter by itself. You can pluck it out of the thing, have no context for it, still good.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, The Age of Madness, it takes a big time jump
Yeah.
between the first trilogy and the next trilogy, and it kind of follows the next generation. And
Hmm.
there's still some twists, and it's kind of more of an industrial era. And I'm struggling usually to enjoy that, but I think
Sure.
Abercrombie did it well.
Okay.
And I would say that his character work is not as well handled
Mm,
in the Age of Madness. Personal opinion, a lot of people will
mhm.
disagree, and they're probably right. It's just the feeling that
For
I
you.
had
Sure.
after that. But one thing that came out of the second trilogy is one of my favorite characters of his, ironically.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know, if you don't enjoy his books, you don't have to. All right, I love him. I go back to his books all the time.
Yeah.
It's they're like, I feel like he says the things that I would like to be able to say.
Mm,
And I don't know, I love pretty much everything about the way that he writes. I've said multiple times he can post like a 600-page book about the contents of his sock drawer, and I would read that. I would read it gladly. I
yeah.
would be excitedly waiting in front of the store if there was still that thing, where you wait in a line to buy that book.
Yeah.
So, but if you do not enjoy it, don't have to. So
Yeah.
many other amazing books.
Oh, for
Totally
sure.
fine.
I think because I've had so many people tell me that I will enjoy The Heroes specifically, I would really like to read it. Brian is saying that I should read Best Served Cold before it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I did a mistake. I read the first trilogy. I read Best Served Cold, and then I jumped into Age of Madness because I was like,
Oh, okay.
okay, it's better to read them in order, because there is development of specific characters that later on end up in different places, and if you have context for that, you enjoy it more. It's not the end of the world if you don't, but I would definitely agree with Brian that it's
Okay.
it's better.
Noted. To answer your previous question about dancing,
Ah,
does merengue
nice.
very well. Yeah.
Yeah, well, merengue, I think, is the beginning of bachata. It's, I think, what
Mm,
bachata
okay.
came out of. So yeah, I can also dance it. It's the thing that they taught us before we actually moved on to
Very
bachata. So
cool. That's
very
awesome.
nice. Hmm.
So, of all of the series that you haven't read yet, because I mean, there for all of us, there's a lot, right? There's a lot of stuff that we haven't gotten to. Um, but are there some big series that, besides Malazan, that you
Mm.
haven't gotten into yet at all that you're really, really excited to get to?
Probably, but just like always, when you ask me, I lose. Like, there are books. Wait a second.
Some behind
Uh,
you, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't push me, okay? um, I don't know. I don't know. You know what? No clue. I would like to read, I've started The Realm of the Elderling.
Oh,
I
sure,
read the
sure.
first trilogy, but I haven't continued with it. So I would like to move on to Life Ship Trader. And I know you're not a big fan of
That's okay.
the first book, but I would like to move on
Yeah.
more towards that. Uh, a whole bunch of classic.
Mhm.
The Sword of Shannara. I
Oh,
haven't started
okay.
that one yet. Yeah, I would like to. I would
Very
like to read
cool.
it. My mom, I recommend. I was like, I told my mom about it one time that it's similar to the Lord of the Rings because she read it and she loves it. She's a big
Mm,
reader herself,
that's awesome.
and she read it the whole thing within a week.
Wow.
It's insane. She reads so much, so much. It's absolutely insane.
So does she give you book recommendations
All the time.
all the
I've
time? Yeah.
never managed to catch up. Yeah. She's the one who recommended me Frederick Backman actually as a
Oh,
writer
okay.
because when she likes something, she binges everything else by a given author. And she's also the one who recommended me Jack Reacher. Mind.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And kind of against all odds. I mean, not. I like a strong badass guy that
Mhm.
goes and punches everybody around him and solves the thing. And yeah, I like that kind of stuff. It's cheesy and I love it.
Yeah.
And she recommended me that one, and I've absolutely loved it. She does great recommendations, but I cannot keep up with her
That's
at
fair.
all, especially with the with my TBR game and everything. It's a
Yeah.
whole hassle.
So, as somebody who is planning on trying a TBR game on my
Mm,
channel starting in June, what advice do you have? Because one of the things I have noticed, and I tried to build this in, and I think you did a really good job with yours too, where there's enough space for mood reading that you get to pick some of your own stuff. It's not like super, rigid that way. Um, but what are some of the pros and cons of choosing your
ah,
TBR with a game?
well, listen to me very carefully, Tori. As
You're an
somebody who's
expert.
one as somebody who's once said on YouTube on the record that I'm a mood reader for life and I would never be doing
Yeah,
TDR multiple times, mind
yeah,
you, and
yeah.
then went and
Here we are.
here we are.
Yeah.
I can tell you that what's very important is to not treat it as a must, not treat it as
Mm,
a not don't put punishments,
yeah,
don't put
yeah.
punishments, put rewards for certain things that can be interesting. For me, I went through a period like probably most people where I bought so many books,
Mhm.
all of the books for no good reason, honestly, and I could never read them in a million years probably. And I decided to put boundaries and stop buying books. And now I have made my reward system such that when I gather a certain collection of cards, I can buy for every 5 cards, which means 5 specific books related to those cards. i
Right.
can get I can get 2 books. So
Mhm.
it's if I don't read the TBR, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
Oh, I didn't read these books, who cares? But if I do, I get to buy books, which is also not a thing that I need. It's
Right.
just a treat. So there's no urgency, there's no hurry, there's no pressure for that. And every time I get so many books on my DVR, like 12, I could never read these, and most of them are like
Right.
700-800 pages books, so
Right.
absolutely no chance. I treat it, and this is actually not my idea. It's an idea of one of my subscribers. I think it was Justina who said that. Treat it as a pool of opportunity.
Yeah, love that.
It's the more choices you have, and then whatever you don't read, it's who cares?
Yeah.
Again, one day I will, but you don't have to get to everything. And if you feel like none of this is inspiring to me, none of this is what I want to read right now, toss it and pick something else. And
Yeah.
there's like for the 2 years that I've been doing TBR until now, there's one person who said, "Oh, but why even bother with a TBR if you're not going to follow it?" One person.
Right.
That's it. So,
Yeah.
and I understand their frustration with that, and I explained what the point is, and when I did, they understood,
Yeah.
and it was fine.
I don't think well, I shouldn't say anyone. I think most of the regular people around BookTube are not that stressed about what
No,
we read. Like, they want us to
absolutely not.
read certain things because they're excited to hear us talk about
Mm,
it, but it's not, like you. I've never had anybody be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm sorry." Like, let's go.
Yeah.
You know, no,
No,
nobody's like that. I've had people who recommend me things very frequently to try to get me to read them faster. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited
yeah.
about
Oh, you should be. Oh my God. I am excited about it. I can't wait to see it. This is, I mean, your idea, the way that you presented it, the things that I've seen, it's gonna be so cool. And you know what? The moment I saw the way that you have made the cards and like kind of the catalyst element
it.
between the
Mhm.
things, like the synergy between things, I immediately thought I have to introduce you to my friend Jolly because she is a board game designer and
Oh,
she's very much
cool.
into these kind of things. And I'm so impressed by her because she can think of these mechanics and how to, incorporate them. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, you two would so click.
Yeah. It well, I've tested it a couple of times and just done like a few practice rounds to kind of, and my friend Casey very kindly allowed me to kind of guinea pig test it on her. Um, so
Lucky.
we picked her TBR for May
Yeah.
over the phone with it a couple weeks ago. There are, I mean, it's not perfect. There are some, weird game mechanic things that like if certain cards are drawn together, I'm going to have to kind of like, you know, fudge things around a little bit, um it's not that serious. It's
No,
fine.
absolutely not.
So with your games, you came up with all of the mechanics and card things and everything yourself, right?
I did not. No, that those are mechanics that have been around for thousands of, oh, not thousands of years, but I think I went a little too far. They have been around very much. There are a few different end game mechanics, if I can call it that way, for board games. One thing is like a certain amount of rolls. Another thing
Mhm.
is deck gathering. Another thing
Yeah.
is reaching a location. And I have a few that are favorite of mine. And reaching a location is always the favorite of mine because it allows for a little bit of mystery. Oh, how many?
Sure.
And when you add, like roadblocks, which can bring you back,
Mhm.
it makes it fun for people who watch, not necessarily
Yeah.
for you, but yeah.
Yeah.
And so these are very basic what I came up with is the design, even though again I took the inspiration from the Lord of the Rings. You will be surprised that I didn't come up with that. But yes, so these are basic things. I just put them together. There are other games that are on BookTube that also have the same
Yeah.
mechanic. They just have a different design,
Yeah.
and I don't think they have the same cards. But it's very very basic things. I just made it more atmospheric, if you will,
Sure.
because this is what excites me.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I think that's the cool part is about like if you're going to do something like a TBR game, it really allows you a lot of play space to create
yeah,
something that is unique to you and something that makes you excited to do it. Um,
yeah, absolutely.
because I've tried, I dropped TBR videos a while ago and have
I know.
loved that. But I wanted at least a tiny bit of structure, and I think what I like the most about it is the reward system, not even the, "Oh, you could buy books now," but, like, collecting the cards. I'm a collector.
Yeah, same.
So,
This
the idea of, like, collecting sets of cards in a game blew my I was like, "I wanna do that." When I was watching yours, I was like,
yeah,
"That's brilliant. I love that idea."
this is the
Uh,
one thing that I'm very proud of, because
yeah,
I this is the second iteration of the game. The first one was very like random, more
yeah,
random, but it was still carrying the Lord of the Reeds name because I love stupid puns. It's
love
like
it.
60% of my personality. And so this is the first thing I came up with, and everything else kind of came after that. But in the first one, the end game was to gather all the characters from the Fellowship of the Reed.
Yep,
So, I wanted to incorporate that in the second one. And then I needed to come up with an end game again because I don't want to play this in perpetuity. One day
sure.
I would like to move on to the hopefully next version, if we're alive and well. And I wanted to come up with an end game beyond, and as well as a reward system. So the idea is once I gather all of the collections, all of the cards, then we can move on to the next version of the game.
Mhm.
So that thing, I initially had a different idea, which I think I will do again if everything goes to plan in the third one. But it required a little more investment of time and energy. So it will be for another time. But I really like this one, and it's exciting for me as well. I made the cards, I came up,
Yeah.
I gathered the prompts, I connected them to the cards, I gathered the facts and put them all together, the designs and everything. But it's still fun for me whenever I come up
Yeah.
with a card because it's been so long I've forgotten a lot of
Yeah.
it. And then every time I get to see them turn, in the and the thing that I've made in the card collector, and when I see them appear, and I'm like, ooh, it's just a basic human thing.
Yeah. No, I think it's brilliant, and that was
Thank
finally
you.
the mechanic, I think, that pushed me over the edge, just because 'cause I'd seen so many of the TBR games, and I was like, "Well, these are cool, but I don't know if I could." I think I'd bounce off of a lot of them very quickly. So
You gotta
giving
have an end game.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that was a big, like, light bulb moment for me where I was suddenly
Mm,
like, "That makes I wanna do this." Within,
yeah.
like, I think 2 or 3 of those videos, I was already designing cards because I wanted to do it
Awesome.
myself so bad.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but it was so cool because you texted me, and then like a day or two after that, you sent the initial text, and I was like, oh my god, when did you find time to do this? It's so amazing, and
Remember
they
that
look so
hyper
good.
focus we were talking about?
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
so cool, so cool.
Well, and I felt so I'm an extrovert, and I have to remind myself that sometimes, like, I can be a very intense person, like, I get very
Mm.
excited about things very easily, and I like to be friends with people, and I like to talk about things, and so I felt kinda bad after the fact because I always think about it after I do something. I had just kind of blown into your DMs, and I was just kinda like,
Yeah.
"Hi, I'm making a game, and I love your videos, and oh my gosh, we should be friends." So,
Well, listen,
you were very gracious.
you cannot imagine. Let me disclose this here, just between the two of us, because
Nobody's
as a
listening.
secret. Yeah, I was jumping around here when I saw it. I was like, "Oh my god, it's Tori!" And I was, I wanted to call my mom, tell her she has no idea who you are, but it's just
Yeah.
it was so nice. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
I've been the last, like, 2 months, I've been, with my husband at night, we'll finally, get the kids to bed, and then we, like, either watch a movie or read together or whatever, and I was watching your videos almost every night. I was like, "You
Oh,
gotta watch this.
I
Come
think.
watch this. This is so cool." Um, and I wanted to mention, speaking of Sylvia's videos, Monty made the comment, blam, she has this 32,000 view video. So
Oh my god, yeah,
I
that
need
video.
everybody after this stream to go to Sylvia's channel once you've subscribed, and then her most recent video, is her rant on modern publishing. Now, here's the thing. Lots of people have a lot of opinions on different aspects of publishing, modern publishing. Oh, we don't like this, we don't like this, we like this, whatever. I have been, like, trying to figure out how to articulate certain things about what frustrates me in modern publishing for literally months. And when I saw Sylvia's video, I literally took my video idea for that off my list because I was like, I'm just going to send everyone to that video because everything you said is so on point, and you had some fantastic illustrations for exactly why certain things in modern publishing have been frustrating you. It is one of the most articulate, amazing videos I've seen on BookTube from a
Thank you.
topic perspective in a long time. Please, you guys go watch it because it's phenomenal. One of my favorite BookTube videos ever.
Oh, thank you so
So,
much, Tori. I was debating, and we talked about it a little bit earlier before we started the stream. I was debating whether to actually post it
yeah.
because, as you said, you're gonna stir
Yeah, for
some
sure.
it's a very I wouldn't call it controversial, but it would be taken that way because it's one of the things that I debate discuss in the video, that we have gotten a little too defensive about certain things, and as soon as we mention them, everybody is on their guard, waiting for the wrong word to come up so that I think I said it to one of the people that commented under the video in the beginning, because the comments went out of hand very quickly. I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
keep up. But one of the people said, he commented, and I was like, okay, there are things that I can understand, but it shows that you haven't watched
Watch the
you
video.
didn't
Yeah.
hear. Maybe he watched it, but maybe I don't think he heard what I said, because it proves yet again that whenever certain topics come that are very near and dear to us, that we feel very strongly about, we tend to hear what we already think about. People
Yep.
will interpret whatever you say, like verbatim in the video. I said certain things, and somebody like said that the opposite in
Right.
the comment, like, this is why you said that. I was like, verbatim, I said the opposite, like
Mhm.
here and here in this minute. And then a lot of people said lovely things. Several very, very popular authors emailed and DM'd me. I was The fact that these people know I exist, it was beyond my wildest dreams. But said said lovely things. I couldn't
Deserved.
believe that. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I'm very humbled.
Yeah.
A lot of people said nice things. Some people, very few, but some people said not so nice things, and I understand. Again, people are allowed to feel how they feel about things. I
Yeah.
put it out there. I leave the comments open for a reason. I want people to discuss. But I've been, I was called all kinds of pedestrians and simpletons for for discussing the quality of a book ultimately. And one gentleman called me, I put it, a lady of rather loose morals, if I can put it that way, for
People on the
again
internet, man.
debating the quality of the book. And you know what? As I told you before we started the stream, I come from a place where people are rude to each other routinely.
Yeah.
It's the default. If somebody is nice to you, you kind of looking at
Questionable.
them weird, like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? What's going on here? So it doesn't bother me. And I think this is the the attitude I would like to see more in people, that it's
Mhm.
okay to disagree. It's okay that, oh, somebody was rude to me. They were offensive to me. Yeah, they wanted to offend you. What do you think they're gonna do for that?
Mhm.
So I'm fine with that. But it's interesting that you know grown people, people that are supposedly have it together. Uh, we do not want to debate anymore. We do not want to. We want people to agree. We want to win the argument. We don't want to hear what's coming on the other side. We just want to win the argument, and that's that we're treating conversation like sports games, our team versus your team. That's that. And it's it. I wouldn't say that it bothers me necessarily. If I don't like something, I leave. It's
Right.
fine. But it's kind of sad. I was wondering, because you have a few videos. Sorry to interrupt. You have a
Oh,
few
no.
videos that I love on similar topic,
Mm,
be it when you dislike a certain book or a certain
mm.
author or something like that. You have like lovely videos on this topic.
Thank you.
I'm wondering how you particularly deal with that kind of stuff. And I don't want us to turn into a "ooh, woe is me" fest. People are so rude to me,
No.
like none of that. But I'm
Yeah.
just curious.
I mean, I think anytime you put any kind of content out on the internet, you have to assume that it is a possibility that somebody is gonna be upset with you, right? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
and I think when I talked about, your favorite author is not a god was one of the videos I did recently that kind of touched on that topic. Um, Brian's the channel with loose morals, apparently.
No, well, yeah, obviously. They
Um,
probably know that I associate with you, Brian, and that's where it
that's
came
why.
from.
Yep, there you go. Guilty by association.
And absolutely.
Um,
Well, in this case, it's true. So,
yeah, they're not wrong. Um,
yes.
yeah,
I'm
I
your
mean,
grandma with the loosest morals.
I think I mean, part of it's just learning how to roll with that kind of stuff and
Yeah,
recognizing that, like,
absolutely.
when people say things about you on a channel or on a social media platform or wherever you are, it's what they say is for the most part almost always a reflection on them and not you.
Oh,
Like, and I think, I mean, I've gotten some really interesting comments in the last
oof.
year or 2
Interesting.
on
Love
lots
that
of
word.
different types. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm like, if you don't agree with what I said, that's fine. Like, I'm not here because I want yes men. I don't want an echo chamber, right? I want to have conversations where I'm talking to people about different opinions because that's interesting and it makes the conversation. But
Yeah.
like you said, we've turned this into, instead of being able to have an adult conversation where we can disagree and discuss the disagreement and discuss where the different perspectives are coming from, everybody gets, it's a very knee jerk kind of like instant aggression response to it that
Yeah.
really doesn't need to be there. And it's not, I think it's a skill set that's rapidly been lost on the internet, especially.
Yeah, but I think it's about specific things. We designate something as a taboo topic or as a
Mhm.
uh, like a this thing is precious,
Right.
and we can, people can disagree about a lot of things, but for this one thing, we cannot you cannot even raise you can't even raise a question, and that's
Right.
the surest way to find yourself in a situation where you're ultimately wrong, because
Mhm.
you have to continuously question everything you believe in to make sure that, okay, I'm right, I have seen it from multiple points of view. And
Mhm.
it's not even that. Sometimes we might agree about something, and then I can just, bring up the topic, and immediately it's like, oh, how dare you,
How
you
you even
know
bring it up. Yeah.
yeah. And it's very, very reactionary, very knee jerk, as you said, about certain things. And I mean, I'm not here to preach or anything. I'm not an ideologue. I don't keep up with current events for the most part, not because I don't care about the world. It's because I can't
Right.
possibly care about everything all the
Everything.
time.
Right.
And I try to, to honestly care about whatever happens to the people around me, and to what again, I'm not disinterested about certain things, but I I don't want to come here and, try to set people on the right path,
Right.
because we're all supposedly intelligent beings, and to be on the right path is your responsibility. Not to mention, you decide what's the right path. But it's just like, about certain things, it's like hot stove. People touch it, and immediately everything is like, oh, I don't like this type of mm, attitude
Yeah.
towards things,
Yeah.
because it implies that I'm no longer allowed to think differently, that I'm
Mhm.
no longer allowed to question, to consider. And if I'm not allowed to question and to consider, then this is there's surely something wrong here.
Right.
Only things that, when there's something wrong, is it hidden, is it protected in such a way. If something is, I don't know, I don't want to continue
No,
blabbering
absolutely.
forever, but it's just, it upset me that, why I got so upset is because I wanted to say these criticisms about this book, that
Mm.
these things I don't think are executed well. I don't think they have place here the way
Right.
that this book is right now. And I was stopping myself from doing it
Mhm.
actively. I was thinking of ways to say something else, to not say
Mhm.
that. And immediately I was like, why? Why
Why?
am I afraid
Yeah.
to mention that?
Yep.
Why am I afraid to say that? And again, I'm not saying that those things are bad
Mhm.
by default. I'm saying they don't fit here. It
Right.
doesn't fit here. I can see the white thread with which you've
Mhm.
sewn this thing together.
Right.
I can see that it's artificial, or at least that's my opinion. I
Yeah.
might be wildly wrong, but I have deduced that this
Yeah.
is this is artificial here.
Yeah.
And and the fact that I was worried to mention it, just, okay, you know what?
That's an immediate red flag for
I'm just
sure.
gonna go ahead and say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people had strong opinions. A lot of people also
Yeah.
agreed. And yeah, it's we can disagree on this, but I'm going to put it
Right.
out there, and that's
Yeah.
it.
I mean, and I think it's important to have those kind of conversations, and that's why in every single one of my topic videos I always say, like, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments, because genuinely I
Mm.
know that, there's going to be facets of this that I haven't thought about that other people can bring up. I know that I would I'm going to get more perspectives from different people with different experiences in the comments. And part of that is just starting the conversation. And I think that that's a good thing. We
Yeah.
want that, right? We want to have those discussions. And that's part of why reading and books, discussing books is so important, I think, for us as a larger society, is it allows us to have conversations about things we disagree on in a book world that gives us practice, hopefully, to take it beyond that.
Yeah. And I've noticed that people are only like that on the internet, at least where I come from. You will never meet never, like I'm 38 years old. I have never met a person out there to whom I will go and start a conversation and they will immediately explode this way. At least, I mean, yeah, some people react more
Mhm.
strongly, but if you're well mannered in your approach, you usually get to some sort of, civil
Yeah.
disagreement. And again, in Eastern Europe, I can only imagine that it's much more civilized, you know,
Mhm.
in the West. But this is what we
Mhm.
think, this is what we
Yeah.
assume here. But you go on the internet and people immediately start throwing all kinds of ignorant, idiot. One person told me to stick to the more pedestrian books because obviously I can't handle this level of world building.
Okay, not to sound unkind.
All
I'm
right,
gonna
sir.
sound like just tiny bit unkind for a second here. This was on your
It's fine.
Sanderson rant?
Yeah, yeah. And Sanderson is one of my
Right.
favorite authors, mind you. It hurt me deeply to have to say these things, but
Sanderson, and this
he
is
was like, maybe read more than one of his books.
you've read a
Yeah,
lot of
it's
his
like,
books.
did you
Yeah.
32
Also,
to
and
be
this
exact?
isn't some people would take it this way. This isn't meant to be a negative. But Sanderson is pretty pedestrian when it comes to fantasy. He's very accessible to, and that's one of the reasons why he's so successful, is that a lot of people can pick up his books and enjoy them. So that's pretty pedestrian. It is. You mentioned earlier about how you can tell very quickly in a comment if someone's actually watched the video or not. I've gotten some
Yes.
comments where I can tell from like the first sentence, you saw the title of my video, you had opinions, and you just said them
Yeah.
without watching anything I said because you're yelling at me, but we actually agree. You just didn't watch the video to find out, which is I'm always like, if you're going to have a strong opinion, at least watch the video, the whole video. So weird.
Yeah, I don't think people have patience. And
It's true.
look, I understand in the age of 10-second entertainment, nobody wants to spend 20 minutes. I mean, you can watch it in a faster
Sure.
speed and be shorter, but like, nobody wants to spend that kind of time, especially if they disagree. But if you're gonna come there and say something, might as well,
Yeah.
you know, might as well watch it all. Because I don't know. I don't want to continuously go about this. First of all, I don't want to sound
No.
ungrateful or bitter. I am bitter and sour about a lot of things in my life, but that's not one of them. I am so I know the word humbled is overused, but
Yeah.
I am. I couldn't believe as who was it that mentioned that I usually get 2,000 views on
Monty.
my video, and yeah, yeah, when I saw where it was going, I got a little scared,
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
honest, because I was like, that's not the kind of notoriety I was looking for. I just wanted to,
Yeah.
blab
That was a
everything that I
pretty
wanted to say on
eloquent
the
that was a pretty eloquent video to just throw it out there.
Yeah, but I did not
Really good.
expect that. And again, so many people approached me, again, authors that I was like, you, what? We're not the same thing at all, and I was and again that an author appreciated that. And again, it doesn't matter of what, whether small or big, but when somebody this big, and again, I don't want to mention names because I don't want to put the people in awkward
Mhm.
situation, but when you see somebody on this level also struggling with
Yeah.
this, that
Yep.
it's not just me imagining
Yeah.
these things, that really says something. And so many views, a lot of subscribers. I think 1,000 subscribers I gained from that one
Yep.
video. And for a channel with 4,000 subscribers
Yep.
prior to it, that's a lot. So So I'm very appreciative of this. And people were telling me, "Oh, you have to capitalize on this right now. Pump a bunch of other videos." And I was like, first of all, I don't have an idea of thing to put right now. But it was also my birthday and the anniversary of my
Mhm.
father's passing, and a lot of things, kind of one after another. And my main idea of this channel is not to grow it as much
Right,
as possible. This is the strategy I want
right.
to follow. It's a hobby. It charges me, recharges me,
Yeah,
and as long as it does, I'll do
yeah,
it. And but yeah, it was so nice to see so many people watched it.
yeah.
It
It
was
is
it was so cool.
wild, I think, when you kinda have a video that starts taking off like that, and you like, when you mentioned getting a little nervous about it, I totally get that because it
Yeah,
is, and you realize suddenly that it's going so far beyond your typical audience that you have no idea what's gonna happen.
you can't contain
No,
that
no,
now. It's out there. That's not what I just wanted to talk to some people about books. I did not want to be the chick who, ooh, with the important message. Man,
no,
oh my God.
I think uh, people feel that. I think when you genuinely just come in, and that was something that I really focus on when I do my topic videos too, is just it's an opinion that I have. I'm not going out on YouTube and like what's popular nowadays, kind of thing. It's like this is something I feel like I'd like to talk about. I'm genuinely interested in what other people think and feel about it. And I would like to have a conversation. And I think people can feel that, and
Yeah.
they respond to that. Most people respond really well to that kind of a just genuine, let's have a conversation. There's always the people. There's always the group that, you know, likes to throw their weight around a little bit, but, um,
Yeah, well, I mean, there's always going to be that, and you take the good with the bad.
yep,
It's not that big of a deal.
absolutely. I need to say hello to Anitha so that I'm not ignoring her. Hello, Anitha.
Hello.
Um, so as we could I say this almost every Motley Crew chat, we could talk for probably 6 hours. Um, I
Oh my
wanna be
God.
respectful of your time. Um, but my last question for you is twofold. First of
Ooh,
all, is there a book that you can leave for our chat and everybody watching the replay that is something you have absolutely loved recently that you would recommend to everyone to check out?
oh my God. Put me
I
on the
did,
spot
here I
now.
am.
Damn it. Okay, okay. Listen,
Mm,
Hyperion by Dan
okay.
Simmons. I know I'm not discovering the wheel with that, and probably everybody's already read it, and I was the last one that was
I
left.
haven't,
But it
so
was
you're good.
so great. What can I tell you? Fantastic. I'm not going to tell you anything. I went fully blind, do it as well. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic book. I can't say enough good things about it. And another sci-fi. I was a big fantasy fan, but I'm
Love
recommending
it.
sci-fi here. It's a little weird, and I love it. And it's not going to be for everybody for
Mhm.
sure, but I loved it. It's Roadside Picnic by Arkady and Boris
You
Strugatsky.
mentioned that recently.
It's a yeah, yes. It's a sci-fi from the 80s or something like the 70s, 80s. Uh, s- I loved
Mm,
it. It's very short. It's weird. It does the first contact with aliens. I mean, I hate talking about
yeah,
tropes, but here I am doing it. Uh, it does it in a very interesting
okay.
way because it kind of doesn't, but it's a very human story in a very uncanny environment, I
Yeah,
would say. So yeah, I think it's a thinker, and I think it will leave everybody with something to think about. I would recommend it because it blew my
yeah,
mind when I read it. Absolutely blew my mind. Still to this day, I think about moments of it. Like a certain moment will pop up, and I'll be like, "Oh my God!" It's like an existential thing immediately. But it's not as heavy as I'm putting it. It's heavy, but
yeah,
it's good.
and
It's very
that's
good.
I'm
I,
trying
I
to remember
really really
which
recommend.
month's wrap up that's in because you talked about it recently. Ju
July, I think.
I say recently,
July,
I've watched them all
July maybe.
recently, so, to me, everything is recent.
Listen, in the context of the universe, it's very
It
recently.
is, it really is. July last
Mm.
year really wasn't that long ago. And then also my second
July, August? I
sometime in
don't know.
time. My second
Yeah.
question, along with that, because you've watched my channel for so long, which first of all, thank you. That was I'm very flattered by that. So you have been around for a while. You know my reading taste pretty well at this point.
Oh, yes. I have
So
been
what is a
around.
book that I should prioritize?
Oh my God, Tori, why didn't you
Sorry.
tell me to prepare with
I asked
that
you if you wanted
now?
me to send you questions. In fairness.
Well, I didn't, but I didn't know it was gonna be like this. Damn it. All right. Jesus Christ, what have I read?
Lots of books.
All right, prioritize. Listen,
Okay.
prioritize
Okay.
Hyperion. That's
All
what I'm
right.
gonna say. Do it.
My husband read it last
I
year. He
Yeah,
did.
did he like it?
He liked a lot of
Okay.
aspects of it. I'll put it that way. As a whole, he had some
All right.
nitpicks, but
Very
yeah,
diplomatic.
that's
Very
how we do
diplomatic.
things around here. I don't want to offend
Listen, when
anybody.
you read it, yeah, when you read it, uh, I want to say the story of the scientist
Mm,
guy. This is what I mean when I say
okay.
perfection.
Noted.
That's all I'm going to say. And it will hit you
Yeah.
greatly.
I'm excited.
It's
I
perfect.
do I do wanna I
Mm,
do wanna get to that, especially since I haven't read as much science fiction as I would like to. So we'll get there.
yeah.
Thank you, Brian. More importantly, though, whether you're in the chat right now or on the replay and you haven't done it yet, go down in the description box below, click Sylvia's link to her channel, and subscribe. And also, I put her modern publishing discussion video down in the description box for you
Yes,
guys to watch too, because it is phenomenal. Um, incredibly well thought out.
you're too kind,
It's
Tori.
worth it. It's honestly a fantastic video. So take the compliment.
Thank you.
Just say thank
Thank you,
you,
Tori.
Sylvia.
Yes. What was the meme with the vending
Oh
machine,
yeah,
trying to pay me a compliment? It's like trying to fit a crumpled $5 bill in a vending machine. It's
so true.
uncomfortable for
It's so
everybody.
true.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I want to say a huge thank you for your time this evening and for coming on the chat. I'm sure this will not be the last time we chat. Um, but
Absolutely
thank
not.
you.
Tori, thank you. Again, I don't get emotional in front of people, but I just want to say that this has been so great. That's it.
Likewise, I am so thrilled that we finally got a chance to talk in person as close to as we can. Um,
Yeah. Uh,
all the way into Minnesota.
yeah,
Chat,
absolutely.
thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, for all of your awesome comments and questions. If you're watching the replay, we love you too. And again, go down in that description box, click the link, subscribe to Sylvia's channel, watch all her stuff, check out her TBR game videos because I haven't been that entertained in ages on BookTube. Not to say that all my other, but you guys are all doing amazing work, but I'm just saying Sylvia's TBR game is
You're not.
fun.
I'm the
Sylvia's the
best.
best. That's what we're trying to say. But yeah, thank you guys
Fantastic
for
people.
watching. Y'all are awesome. I hope that you are reading some 5-star reads. Having a great week, and we'll see you in the next video.